It's time to pull up a stool and grab your spot at the bar. The stadiums are dark, the scoreboards are off, and the final whistle has long since blown. But in here, the lights stay on. Welcome to the ETB Lounge on the Empty the Bench Network. This is your official post-game nightcap, where we break down the biggest hits, pour one out for the heartbreaks, and dive into the stories that linger long after the clock hits zero. Whether you're here for sharp analysis or one last round of sports talk with the best fans in the game, you've come to the right place. The games are over, and the conversation is just getting started. Well, my friends, the Western Conference Finals are over. The tanking era is officially dead, and our bar is polished up for a 3-hour marathon to end the month of May. Welcome in, folks, to the lounge. My name is Callan McClurg. We begin tonight, Phil, with a masterclass in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, as the Spurs knock out the defending champion Thunder in Game 7 and punch their ticket to the NBA Finals, set up a heavyweight historic battle against the New York Knicks in a rematch of the 1999 Finals, while Victor Wembanyama has officially arrived on the sports' biggest stage, and the tactical chess match begins later this week. But the NBA isn't just changing on the court, though. In a near unanimous vote of 29-1, the Board of Governors passed the new 3-2-1 lottery format to try to kill tanking, and draft relegation is now here for the bottom three teams, and flattening the odds and effectively killing the late season teardowns. We also talk all things NFL June 1st with the salary cap threshold, the first proposals in Major League Baseball's ongoing labor dispute, and more fallout of the gambling scandal involving quarterback Brendan Sorsby. Joined tonight, as always, by Nick DiMartino. We have a bunch more coming. So with that in mind, our good man Nick Morgeson has joined us here to at least kick off hour one, as Conor Rowland's battling tech problems with the cable company, and we'll have more people joining us too in hour number 2. So Nick and Nick at night on a Sunday for May 31st, 2026. D-Mark, good to see you as always, my friend. How are we doing today?
Well, I'm doing really well. I'm doing better than both of you. My team's in the finals, so so I'm doing pretty good. So I'd say
at least it's better than watching the Mets still, right?
Tell me something I don't know. My team's
it's helping
not
me take my time off of it, so my mind off of it.
And, yes, of course, Nick Morgeson filling a bit of a void here again as Conor Rowland battles the cable company for his internet to get back on the online. But Mr. Morgeson, great to see you on another Sunday episode. How are we doing today?
All I'm going to say is the Knicks bias is crazy right now. I had to turn off my satellite radio where I listen to a ton of Mad Dog Sports Radio or any other radio, and everyone was saying Knicks in 6, and I wanted to barf big time.
At least it rhymes. Again, I love it.
Knicks and 6. It does rhyme.
I mean, if you heard,
I love repetition.
If you heard me last night on that stream, which, by the way, thank you to everybody who watched, 1,500 views on YouTube.
And there's more of those coming.
Yeah. I said it last night, and I'll say it again when we get to the actual topic. I think the Knicks bias is real. I think some people don't understand how good the Spurs actually are. And I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening this series. I'm not saying it's going to be a quick series. Let me be clear.
Give me 7. I don't care who wins. Just give me a 7-game series is all I ask. As a reminder, though, folks, you can find us on social media over at the ETB Lounge on Twitter, Instagram, and when the ban is lifted off of the bar being on TikTok eventually. Who knows when that might be. And, of course, you can like and subscribe over at youtube.com/ETB Network. All things, including, as Nick Morgeson said again, we will be having quick little housekeeping here. We will be having reaction post-game shows, as you saw Nick Morgeson do last night, and even after the Knicks knocked out Cleveland, on top as well of last night's program on Saturday. We will be having post-game coverage after the NBA Finals. And, of course, the other big announcement that we will be having, as Nick and I mentioned, too, as the summer does kick off next month in June, on June 10th, involving the FIFA Men's World Cup, as they have already begun their friendly matches and tune-up games for the send-off to the actual tournament. And, of course, we will take your input, though, folks, across Twitter and YouTube over the next 3 hours of the of business ops here today for the entire thing at this rate and at this point in time. With that, guys, we'll kick things off, though, as we mentioned, though, and try though, to unpack Game 7 from Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on Saturday night, as the Spurs, in a way, do upset the number 1 overall Western Conference seed with a 111-103 victory last night from Paycom Center, which now again sets up a 1999 finals rematch, San Antonio versus New York, out of the Eastern and Western Conferences. DiMart, I'll get started with you to kick off the program, though, about this. And, I think a lot of people were, in a way, not really questioning, but I think maybe in a way, would the Thunder maybe become like another, modern day dynasty with how they have assembled this roster, how they're still, though, very much in a comfortable space, though, with all of the first round picks over the next several seasons that they have acquired when they were, rebuilding after the Durant, Westbrook, and Harden era, and they come off the title last season. And I'm going to make a very interesting comparison for you both, just to kind of, compare a couple of apples to oranges here. I think what killed Oklahoma City, and I said this on Cranium on Tuesday, what also killed the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference final in the Stanley Cup final, a lot of the time off, I think, maybe is an excuse, but I do think, though, that this was a thing where you don't have much competition round 1, round 2. You've got very quick series. And in a way, you sit around, you twiddle your thumbs. Yeah, you may get healthy. But then the Thunder suffered the injuries, though, with the hamstring that was led by Williams over the course of the series. Of course, he was out for Game 7 and stuff like that. And I also said that, the Knicks, in a way, until Mitchell Robinson hurt his pinky and broke it, they have been healthy throughout the course of the postseason. So that health and the long wait of playing, in a way, helps or hurts teams, though. But Nick DiMartino, thoughts on the Spurs, though, grinding out a 7-game victory over the Thunder and moving on to the NBA Finals to face off with the Knicks.
I mean, I think you're overcomplicating it. I don't think it has anything to do with the time off. I think it had a lot more to do with injuries. And it's also worth noting that the Spurs beat them. I think it was like 2 out of 3, whatever the number it was. The Spurs beat them in the regular season. No, I don't think it has anything to do with lack of competition. Although, I mean, it's true they didn't exactly play a gauntlet of a schedule going up to the Spurs. They didn't, but I don't think that's the reason why they lost. I think it has a lot more. It's not because they had too much rest. I think grinding out too many games hurts teams more than too much rest does. I don't think that's the reason why. It's not because of rest. It's because of injuries. That is what I think that's the biggest reason they lost to the Spurs is because of injuries. Also, the Spurs are just a really good team. Like it's not that crazy that the Spurs beat them to me.
Yeah, Nick Morgeson, I would probably agree in a way to DiMart's point, though. And as I mentioned, I think I said this on Tuesday on Cranium. Sorry for the panting dog. Is that that the Knicks, I think, partially get to the finals because they were healthy. They may have played some long series, but they were healthy round 1, round 2, round 3 until Mitchell Robinson breaks his pinky in a practice, or he breaks the finger across the board, though. And that Oklahoma City, as to DiMart's point, though, they had to deal with some injuries, though, as this entire playoff had rolled on, though, involving hamstrings and soft tissue problems or whatnot. And then I think, though, San Antonio, I think you may have wrote to the Slack channels, it just seemed like, though, in a way that the Spurs kind of wanted this entire conference series more than Oklahoma City. And I think we saw flashes of that, though, maybe when they won Game 1 or they won Game 6 at home, winning Game 7, really sounds, really, keeping that quiet or that arena quiet, though, at Paycom. But I guess, though, Nick Morgeson, I know that you had the full recap and thoughts of the game last night, though, but maybe any other thoughts that maybe didn't leave the mind after last night?
Well, I'll give you one big reason. J-Dub didn't play in most of this series, and that's why they lost the series.
As we alluded to, yeah.
And J-Dub is the second best player, on the OKC Thunder. I still think Wemby was the best offensive player in this series. And I know a lot of people are going to get angry at me for that because they're going to say SGA because he won back-to-back MVPs, which in my opinion, I think Wemby got gypped big time for MVP votes. But the only reason OKC did not win this series because they were not healthy. They were not fully healthy. If they were fully healthy, I think they win this series. If J-Dub plays and he's who he is, I don't know if because San Antonio blew that game. I forgot which game it was, but they had a lead and then OKC came back. But they would have lost that series. The Spurs are a good team. They actually got here way earlier than people thought in the process of building. And Callan made a good point on Cranium, and we've talked about this too. The way the 3-2-1, or what I want to call a garbage dump, being put on the NBA draft, you won't see that anymore in the draft where people can stockpile. Now, I want to know what's going to happen to the OKC Thunder because they have all those first round picks. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be allowed to use them. They're going to have to trade them away.
Possibly. I mean, who really knows, though, with where that, and we will get to that, though, here in just a moment, though. But again, folks, as we recap again, Spurs over the Thunder on Saturday night to clinch their spot in the NBA Finals. I think, though, DiMart, as we go back to you, though, about this, San Antonio-New York series, though, I think that Morgeson's right, though, DiMart, that I don't think a lot of people really thought San Antonio would be here so quickly after, the era of Popovich with, Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker for all those years and their success. Then they have, I think their first major teardown rebuild over the last, several seasons, with, getting Castle, getting Champagny, and then getting, obviously getting Wemby, of course, helps out the cause, though. But with that, though, DiMart, in your mind, though, in this matchup, though, away from maybe how these teams were built, though, how though if you're Mike Brown and the Knicks, how do you somehow stop Wembanyama over the course of the upcoming series, though, without trying to get into foul trouble?
Well, wait, let me just let me just go back to your previous point. You were talking about how people didn't expect the Spurs to get here. And that's true. Like nobody, if I were to compare the Spurs to an NFL team, it would be the Patriots.
Sure.
I think that's a pretty good comparison. Historically, a dynasty. They were in the tank last year, and then this year they end up going to the finals. I mean, a very, very quick turnaround. I mean, I think I think that's a pretty good comparison, other than the Spurs, going through a tougher road to get there.
True.
I mean, everybody thought Oklahoma City. I mean, here's the thing. The way I see the NBA right now is every year people are like, think there's a new dynasty. Every year people think there's a new dynasty. It's like we thought the same thing about the Nuggets. We thought the same thing about the Celtics.
Who's going to be in 21?
Teams? Right. And we thought the same thing last year about Oklahoma City. And then going into this year, we were like, Oklahoma City is going to win the finals. Who's going to stop them? It turns out that there really just aren't that many dynasties anymore. Like by today's standards, a dynasty is winning like one championship in 10 years. That it seems like that's the closest you're going to get to a dynasty.
Well, there's other factors involved in why dynasties won't happen anymore because of the salary cap, the apron structure.
Yeah.
That you can't afford. You can't have a big three anymore like the Celtics did, like the Miami Heat did. So you can't afford to have 3 stars. Some rosters can't even afford to have 2 stars on the roster the way they're built. So the one I'm going to be interested in watching is Cade Cunningham in Detroit. How they're going to build that roster, and if they're going to be able to afford a Cade Cunningham contract on top of keeping the core. Now, I still think they were the cheapest 1 seed of all time.
Fair.
And how do you get beat by what was it, Orlando?
Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland.
They almost got beat by Orlando, but Cleveland. No, they were I mean, look, I'm not going to bash them as a 1 seed. Whatever, they won 60 plus games in the regular season. Whatever, they earned it. It's that simple.
And by the way, that's a couple of years removed from them having a 28 game losing streak, which I think sets a new record.
They turned around very quickly, just like San Antonio did, actually. Not that quickly, but pretty close. I mean, last year they were a playoff team. The year after being the White Sox of the NBA. So it's actually pretty remarkable how quickly they turned around. But it's true, they were like the White Sox of the NBA.
A good comparison, though. I concur.
So I'm not seeding. One thing I can tell you about seeding is that it seems like seeding in the East is less relevant than it is in the West. Like in the West, usually the best team is the number 1 team, whereas in the East, it's like,
it could be like a toss up, flip a coin.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you look at like 1 year Miami Heat made it to the finals. They were the 8th seed. And it's like it seems like in the East, the seeding is not as good of a proxy of how good the teams actually are when the season, when the playoffs actually start. Whereas in the West, it seems like, all right, the best teams are seeded the highest, and then the worst teams are seeded the lowest.
Yeah, but you can't. But wait a minute, you can't tell me Detroit was a perfect 1 seed. They were beatable the whole way.
Yeah, I would agree.
No, I'm not saying there's a perfect 1 seed, but it's also, you're making it sound like it's a selection process. It's
I
not.
didn't say it was a selection process. I just said I don't think Detroit should really have been classified as a 1 seed. You could get lucky one season and win 60 games.
But what do you mean they shouldn't be classified as a 1 seed? They were a 1 seed.
No, I'm saying I don't think they shouldn't have been treated as a 1 seed because they just were not.
But what do you mean shouldn't be treated as a 1 seed? Like, what does a 1 seed get treated as? They just were a 1 seed. That's all.
A 1 seed is supposed to be the most dominant team in the playoffs.
They weren't. No, but the 1 seed, the seeding, though, just has to do with record. They had the best record in the regular season. The Pistons were the best regular season team in the East. That doesn't mean they're the best postseason team. And I did not think the Pistons were the best postseason team. I did not think that.
The one thing I think you and I can agree with, because we see this all the time, people misconstrue a 1 seed, meaning that you are going to win the championship, you're going to win the playoffs because you're the 1 seed, you're the best team. We debate this all the time in college football with seedings. Seedings mean nothing once you get to the playoffs. They mean nothing.
Yeah, and by the way, for those that are curious, by the way, before I give DiMart the floor back, Detroit was 4 games clear of Boston for the top seed in the Eastern Conference this year. They by 4 wins, 60 to 56.
And I don't want to get into this debate because you and I get into this debate all the time. I don't believe in expectations changing. I just don't.
Why not?
You go into a season. I said this last time I was on. Expectations are what they are at the beginning of the year. I don't look and say before the playoffs the expectations change. That it's what they are. Whatever you are.
Wait. So your expectations for the Celtics would be the same whether or not Tatum came back or not?
Yeah, because he didn't play most of the season.
No. But I'm just saying. Let's say in an alternate scenario, Tatum didn't come back this year. Would your expectations have been lower?
No, because Jaylen Brown still was leading the team.
So you think the Celtics are equally as good without Tatum as they are with Tatum?
No, I said I think they were manageable just with Jaylen Brown.
They were manageable, but they were lower.
What I'm saying is, right, but you said automatically when Tatum came back that they were a championship contender, which I thought
No, I didn't say that. I said your expectations would be higher with Tatum than without Tatum.
They're not. They weren't higher for me because I couldn't trust whether he was going to be 100% healthy. And that was proven right because he got hurt again.
Yes, he was. But I'm just saying, if he's active, there's at least a chance that he might be healthy, as opposed to if he's not active at all, when you know he's not healthy. So yeah, it would be like if you said, it would be like if Mahomes played for the Chiefs and you weren't 100% sure if he was healthy. Your expectations, even if you weren't 100% sure if he was healthy, would still be higher than if Justin Fields was the quarterback.
But wait a second. One thing I will say, though, is say Patrick Mahomes doesn't play the whole season, which for the most part, Jason Tatum didn't play most of the season. Somehow he came back early from the injury, which I was shocked with that he came back as early as he did. But if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play the entire regular season and he comes in and he's ready for the playoffs, which that would be insane if they made the playoffs and he didn't play all year.
Mm-hmm.
Would your expectations be 100% higher if Patrick Mahomes didn't play the whole season? No, for me, it wouldn't be.
I mean, they'd be higher than if Justin Fields was still the quarterback.
No, I'm not debating. I'm not debating that.
Okay, then.
But I'm saying my expectations would not change because I didn't see him play all season. So how would I know what to expect?
Well, look, the Celtics were going into the playoffs. The Celtics and Thunder were far and away the heavy favorites to go to the finals.
That's outrageous.
It's not outrageous. It's objectively true. It's an objective fact. They were the heavy favorites. I'm not making that up.
No, I'm not saying. Go ahead, Kim.
I was going to say, DiMart, I think I recall I think on Lounge, I think you said that when the playoffs began, even with the question marks surrounding the health of Jason Tatum, I believe you may have said on the betting line away from the Knicks that the Celtics were like 2 or 3 when it came to odds to win the Eastern Conference and win the championship.
Let me be clear.
They were the number 1 seed. They had the highest odds in the East to win the championship.
Let me be clear. I'm not debating the odds. I know what the odds were.
Right.
I know that the Celtics, as soon as Tatum came back,
They kind of blew through the roof when it came to championship odds. Yeah.
Well, no, they basically what's the word I'm looking for? Where you see a mirage in the desert. They were basically, the books were trying to take advantage and say, all right, Tatum's back, so let's throw a ridiculous number on the Celtics so everybody puts money on it. Like that's how I saw it. I know the odds were the second highest. I saw it. But just because he came back doesn't mean that they're the favorite or the second favorite. I don't believe that.
No, but I'm just saying they were the favorite. If the betting odds say you're the favorite, that's objectively what a favorite is.
No, I'm not talking about from a betting perspective. I'm talking about just from my eyes and what I see.
So you're talking about your opinion.
Well, just what I'm watching. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying is betting odds. First of all, betting odds shouldn't be telling you whether a team is the best or not.
No. It doesn't. Betting odds don't tell you what team is the best because you can use your own judgment. But betting odds are a very good proxy of probability. Like it's the best proxy of probability. It's kind of like I would compare it to the stock market of sports. Like how
damn you, Kelshi.
But it seriously is. It's like the stock market. Like betting odds are like odds makers for sports books are like investors in sports.
They're
the only ones whose livelihood is dependent on getting the odds right. They're the only one. So they get their approximation is the closest to the probability of so. In other words, if you look at betting odds, that is the best proxy of probability compared to anything else.
But now, let me ask you a question.
You can say, I'll take this side, I'll take that side, but it's a good proxy of probability. Vegas is very, very good at this. There's a reason that very frequently when we watch games, the games are very, very close to the spread because Vegas is so good at it.
Hold on. So what happens because the lines move constantly because you see a big bet come in and that changes the line. So you have to take that into account too.
Well, of course. So because if a bunch of people bet one side as opposed to the other, they have to adjust so they win money on both sides.
No, I get that. But I'm just saying, just to rebuttal on that point slightly, you could get a guy, you get the $1 million throwaway bettors who just want to put a bunch of money down because they were drunk in a casino.
You know what, though? Yeah. I think that's more of a thing with like smaller sports. Like if you like mid-major college basketball, because not many people bet it. So one person bets a lot of money on one side. It drastically affects the odds.
Football all the time in the NFL. All the time.
No, but what I'm saying, that's more, yes, a lot of people betting one side does affect the odds slightly. I don't know if that was much of a thing with NBA futures. Because the point is, though, it's like in the NFL, for instance, if a lot of people bet on one side or the other, it changes the odds a little bit, maybe a point, but it doesn't change them drastically. And with the Celtics, like they were such heavy favorites. Like that's not the reason that it wasn't because a whole lot of people were betting on one side or the other that they were such heavy favorites. It was because that Vegas approximated that they had the greatest likelihood of going to the finals. So, I mean, like that's just not like they were such heavy favorites, way far and above the Knicks and the Pistons to come out of the East.
I think a lot of people are going to lose money betting on the Knicks though in this series.
The Knicks are the underdogs in this series. Like it's just a fact. They're the underdogs.
They should be.
And believe correct me if I'm wrong though. Doesn't New York have home court though too?
No, the Spurs do.
The Western Conference always had the home court going into the finals.
Oh yeah, it's two seed.
Well, it's not a rule that the Western Conference has.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying this year the Western Conference teams had the better record.
Yeah, they all do.
Wins, yeah. So by the way, guys, real quick.
Yeah.
A major upset has taken place in the Men's College World Series in Los Angeles. St. Mary's College of California from the West Coast Conference has taken down the overall number 1 seed UCLA Bruins at their home field 6-5 in 10 innings to move on. Bruins are out of the Men's College World Series for 2026.
Man. By the way, did you see what happened? Was it the women's college softball game where they lost the feed on ABC?
I was watching that game yesterday morning, yes, with Texas Tech and Tennessee.
You see Westwood One took a shot at ESPN on Twitter
Yes,
also?
I did.
Because apparently they were stealing stuff from Westwood One to put on the feed.
Yeah, they literally lost like cameras and the booth mics, and they were like in a hours long delay for technicality problems, and then they came back with just the behind home plate camera, and Beth Mowens and the team were doing.
I'm not in the loop on this. I don't know what
they,
you're talking
they were
about.
they were using different microphones for Texas Tech, Tennessee from Oklahoma City yesterday, and I think they wound up blaming the weather because there was a storm coming through.
So what happened, Nick, is that the Women's College World Series was on ABC. It was on the weekend, right? So
Yesterday morning.
So what happened was the feed went to red, like the red light of death, essentially on screen. So you couldn't see
They
anything.
literally put up a static ABC logo and it said, "Please stand by," because they were having technical difficulties.
And they couldn't get the feedback up. So I think I saw at one point, oh God, who's the sideline reporter? I forgot her name. Who does college basketball for
Holly Rowe?
Yeah, Holly Rowe was like doing play-by-play on her phone
on
Instagram Live.
And it took them forever to finally get it to get the feedback, but it mercifully got put back in time to see Tennessee hit a walk-off homer in yesterday's game over Texas Tech. With that, guys, staying in the NBA, though, but of course, over the weekend, and for that matter, last week, the NBA Board of Governors has laid out a massive, near-unanimous 29-1 vote to pass the new NBA anti-taking 3-2-1 lottery format as we analyze the mechanics of draft relegation like it's European soccer for the bottom three teams, flattening of the odds in a newly established 16-team lottery window. Mr. Morgeson, by swiping away one lottery ball from the bottom three teams and handing the highest odds of 8.1% to the between spots 4 to 10 for the worst records, has the NBA killed the late season teardown, or will front offices just find a more sophisticated way to tank the remainder of their seasons?
This is such malarkey, and that's the nicest word I can say about it. This 3-2-1 draft system is going to be a nightmare, because what happens when you have legitimate teams that stink, like the Washington Wizards, who can't get out of their own way, and they're just terrible teams? The Pacers this year, terrible team. They weren't tanking. Wizards weren't tanking. The Nets weren't tanking. And somehow the Clippers got a higher pick than the Nets in the NBA draft, and they were in the playoffs.
All because of that trade for Ivica Zubac going to the Pacers.
So this draft system is messed up. You're going to give more picks to the higher part of the draft and less to the teams that are at the bottom. What if they're legitimately bad and they're not the teams?
And to a longstanding DiMart point about the Wizards being terribly run forever, the Jazz being terribly run forever, the Kings, that, again, historically bad teams like this. DiMart, I think that this is very much a not shocking but very perplexing situation now, when I think it comes to now it's the highest odds now for the 4th through 10th worst records now get an 8% chance to win the lottery now at this rate. And, I think that we all, in a way, have tried our best to figure, like, what is the best way forward when it comes to mainly the NBA lottery system, who, by the way, per reports gathered, too, within the last couple of, for about, I think, the last week or so, they are going to be going back to having the actual lottery machine like the NHL has been doing for the past decade to actually show the process where, again, we don't have, a Patrick Ewing 85, envelope issue again come to the forefront, though. But, DiMart, your overall thoughts, though, about the NBA going this route, especially now with this new, like European soccer relegation zone, where if you're in the bottom three records that you might actually lose odds or lose a ball when it comes to the winning combos to win the lottery.
Well, look, I think how you feel about this depends on how much you care about tanking. Really. Like, that's really the main. If you don't care that much about tanking in the NBA, then it makes sense to not like this. If you really want to tackle tanking and you think it's just not good for the integrity of the game, and I personally don't care about tanking, but I think the NBA probably should care about tanking.
Adam Silver cares too much about it.
Right. Like, so I can understand, but you know what? From Adam Silver's point of view, from my point of view, I don't care if teams tank. The fan bases are fine with it. If you talk to Wizards fans or Net fans, they were all for losing. But imagine if, say, in the NFL,
right,
the bottom, like the last place teams in every division were just losing games in December on purpose. Imagine if that was
You
a
have
thing
no way
in
to
the
prove
NFL.
it. You have no way
What?
to prove it, though.
No, but the point I'm making is imagine if this was a thing in the NFL. They would nip it in the bud really quickly.
They did. Do you remember when the Eagles lost a game and they fined them a bit of money?
Okay, then you're proving my point then.
And that cost Doug
No, but it was
Peterson his job.
obvious. But wait a minute. Hold on. So when the Eagles lost that game, they clearly did it on purpose. And it was on a primetime game.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the last week of the season, and that also led to the firing of Doug Peterson the following day.
I think that's a different scenario when you lose on purpose on a primetime game compared to if NBA teams are just losing games, which unless they're purposely doing things during the game.
In some cases, they clearly are purposely doing it. Like when Utah pulled out all their starters.
Oh, that
was a blowout.
And that was the game, though, that I think we all said, though, they still won. They won the game, and they still got
fined.
No. You're thinking of the Kings. No, and I made a mistake.
Sacramento?
It was, but like
the Kings Heat. The Kings.
No, but
Yes.
no. There are times when teams are probably trying to tank, and the point is that the way the system is set up, teams are incentivized to do it. Teams are incentivized to tank. It's just a fact.
I don't know if it's that they're incentivized.
Yes,
to
they
tank.
are.
No, the way I would interpret it is that they want the best player that they could possibly get in the draft, so they're just going to try and lose. I wouldn't say that's incentivized.
Of course, it is. How else would you define incentivizing?
First of all, no one should be incentivized to lose games. Let's be clear about that.
But my point is that teams in the NBA are incentivized to lose games. Now, to be clear, I think part of the reason tanking is such a problem this year is because this year's draft was so strong. We have 4 guys in this year's draft that would be number 1 in most years' drafts. So this year's drafts are so strong. And in basketball, one player changes the whole history of a franchise potentially very easily. So that's part of the reason it's such a problem in basketball. Look, if you have a problem with tanking, and it seems like a lot of people have a problem with the tanking in the NBA.
I don't.
But it seems like the public does, and it seems like Adam Silver does. Then you have to come with some solutions rather than just whining. So I think maybe it's worth a try. Maybe it's worth a try if you think tanking is such a big problem. If you don't care about teams tanking, then fine. But here's my issue. Then it turns into this thing where the bottom tier teams are all just unwatchable. And that is not good for any product. That's an issue. And it's an issue for the integrity of the game if you have teams that are incentivized to lose. That is a real thing in the NBA. It's not a thing in other sports. In baseball and football, teams don't tank. That's not a thing.
Well, I think there's a version of tanking in every sport. But what I would say is in the NBA, this is making it worse, having these rules in, because now the teams that are manufactured badly, not teams that are just they don't have a chance, so they're just going to lose games. You're making those teams suffer, like the Wizards, who, when's the last time they drafted a good player? John Wall? Was that the last?
16 years ago?
I'm sure they're going to draft a good player this year.
No, I understand. But the last time they got a decent player was John Wall. They haven't won. When's the last time the Wizards went to the playoffs?
The bubble in 2020 as a playing team.
That was the last time they went?
They were the only Eastern Conference team allowed to come and compete because I think of the records that they had stacked up.
So
I'm surprised it was so recent.
Their last appearance was 2021, and their last series victory was 2017. So
it's been 9 years since they last won a meaningful play since they won a playoff series. 9 years.
But I think Adam Silver was the only one who was bitching publicly about the draft lottery. He's the one that was only willing to speak out publicly. No one else was.
Now, by the way, guys, real quick before we as we continue on here, so I did a little digging. If the rules were retroactively active for this past season's lottery, the landscape would have shifted entirely. So in the relegation zone, the last 3 teams with the worst records, the Wizards, Pacers, and Nets would have only been given 2 balls in the lottery machine for a 5.4% chance to win the top pick.
And that's ridiculous. Those teams were horrible.
Then you go from that to the 4 through 10, as we said with this, that the 4 through 10 worst records get an 8.1% chance to win. They all get 3 balls in the lottery machine. Jazz, Kings, Grizzlies. The only team, by the way, who voted against the proposal was Memphis. The Pelicans, Mavericks, Bulls, and Hawks.
I think Memphis has
Those
more
teams all kind of
problems.
suck too.
I think Memphis has more problems than dealing with lottery balls right now.
And then further, as you get to the top of the pyramid, the teams who made the play-in rounds, seeds 9 and 10. So the 4 teams in the East and the East and the West, 9th and 10th seeds, 2 balls in the machine for a 5.4% chance to win the lottery. And then the losers of the 7 and 8 play-in rounds get 1 ball and a 2.7% chance to win the lottery.
You want to know how you fix this? Just rank the records and call it a day. That's it.
Like the NFL does.
But you're saying get rid of the lottery?
Yes. Get rid of the lottery.
That would make tanking a much worse problem.
No, I'm saying whoever has the worst record is the worst record. You're not tanking for any specific spot. You're just either you win or you lose, and that's it. Because if you're incentivized, I have to get the number 1 pick. I have to. If you remove all that out and just make it records, then you're really not incentivizing to lose.
But
so, and by the way,
incentivizing to lose even more because you're giving the team with the worst record a 100% chance at the number 1 pick.
The NBA lottery sucks.
Like, how is that not incentivizing tanking more? I don't understand.
Well, actually, it would stop tanking because in the lottery ball system, a higher team could still win the lottery. If you didn't have the lottery system, you would just have the records in place, and wherever you finish, you finish.
And I was going to say,
but the fact that a team with a better record could win the lottery is what, if anything, would disincentivize tanking. I don't understand.
No,
how would that incentivize tanking more?
This is worse because there are some teams that are higher that are going to have a higher percentage on the lottery balls, Nick.
Well, no. Okay, I get that, but the point I'm making is, how does this incentivize tanking more? I'm trying to understand what you're saying. How does it incentivize tanking more if a team that has a better record can still win the lottery? How does it incentivize tanking more?
If you take the lottery out, you would take out the chance of a more competitive team to win the lottery. Look where Dallas was when they got Cooper Flagg. They had a
0.8% chance to win the lottery because I think they were like first team out of the Western Conference playoff picture. I think they were 11th or 12th in the
I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one too. Anyone who makes the playoff can't be in the lottery.
I'll give you that. If you make the playoff, you can't be in the lottery.
I think that should include.
But does the play-in count as the playoff?
I was going to say, and I think it should because it still is part of the playoff package for television, even though it's a play-in game.
Okay, that's a fair. I'm not going to argue with you on that. That's fine.
Because Adam Silver is obsessed with this play-in tournament, saying, "Oh, it's part of the playoffs. It's part of the playoffs." I mean, if you make the playoffs, you have to be below the lottery. That's it. Plain and simple.
That's fine. That I think is totally fair. I'm just trying to understand your point about how doing it the way the NFL does, where it's just based on strict record and then tie breaks of the record. If two teams have the same record, I don't understand how that disincentivizes tanking.
Because if you do it the way they're doing it now, where they're saying lower or teams that are higher could technically have a higher percentage than the relegation zone, they could still get the first overall pick, and they don't even deserve it.
I get that, but I'm questioning how that incentivizes tanking. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Because you go wherever your spot is. You're not reaching and trying to do certain things to reach for spots.
And by the way, there is also 2 major caveats we missed though as well, fellas, real quick. With the new system, now a team cannot have back-to-back number 1 picks in back-to-back seasons. That's That's the first major one. And then secondly, now teams are forbidden from picking in the top 5 3 seasons in a row. So for example, because the Jazz have already picked in that top tier consecutively, they would now, underneath their system, be structurally locked out of a top 5 landing spot moving forward, regardless of where the ping pong balls bounce. So if that's the case, though, I think the big question would be, though, Nick Morganson, let's say that does happen, though, where a team has been in the top 5 for the last 3 to 5 years.
Where do you put them?
Where do you put them exactly?
And also, just what if does that mean, like, so say you have 2 top 5 picks and then you somehow get a trade that puts you into the top 5 picks in that third year?
Somebody else, yeah.
Yeah. Does that mean that you can't make that trade?
No, I would think, though, if a team's going to send you a pick, That would
Right,
be
but-
their spot in the first round, I would think, or in the round, or in that particular, or in the lottery because it came from somewhere else.
Right,
I would
I don't
think.
think.
But by
I
rule-
don't think it would apply to a team that receives a pick in a trade. Though
I
I
mean,
don't know.
Yeah, but by
if they-
rule,
if- yeah, but if they clamp down on that though, where if like to DiMart's point though, if you get a pick from Oklahoma City, for example, or from a lesser team, dumping, maybe dumping a pick, and it lands in the top 5, but you've already been as your own team in the in the top 5, 2 or 3 straight years, that would though be a very interesting deal. I think DiMart's right though. I think if it comes from somewhere else though, I don't think it would affect your current standing because it's not your pick.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't.
I think that's a
correct.
loophole. I think that's a loophole, though, technically, because you would technically have a 5th or higher pick 3 consecutive years.
But it's not a loophole if a different team is picking them.
If you trade for a pick that's in the top 5, does that make it your pick?
Well, yeah, because you're the one picking them. What?
Okay, so then that would be breaking the rules because technically you would have a 5th or higher pick in 3 consecutive seasons.
No. But what I'm saying, I'm misunderstanding. So if let's say I don't know, let's say the Wizards have two top 5 picks or have 2 top 5 picks, 2 consecutive seasons, and then the next year they trade one of their picks. And then that turns out to be a top 5 pick that third season.
No,
Let's say Sam Presti gets it.
Okay.
That's never happened before.
Okay,
wait a
hang
minute,
on.
no.
Okay, hang on one sec. So I did try to see if I can find what actually would happen. So, fellas, with this new system, the top 5 repeat restriction is strictly enforced by applying a firm cap on consecutive high selections. If a team somehow beats the odds and draws a top 5 slot but is legally barred due to the recent draft history, the league uses a mechanism to handle how that pick might go. First way, the streak attaches to the team's pick or closing the loophole. The NBA has put this rule in place to explicitly prevent teams from trading their way out of a penalty situation. The consecutive year restriction attaches to the original team's draft asset, regardless of who has that draft asset on draft night. So if the team keeps the pick, if they draw a top 5 slot but have already been in the top 5 for the previous 2 consecutive drafts, the pick is legally capped and forced to drop out of the top 5.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Now, I think here's where we're getting at with this story. If the team traded their pick, so let's say Team A owns a unprotected, which is a big Morgeson pet peeve, belongs to Team B, and Team B triggers the consecutive top 5 restriction penalty, the pick is still capped. That means Team A cannot select in the top 5 using that trade asset. This situation heavily impacted the Memphis Grizzlies, who hold a unprotected future Utah Jazz pick. But because the Jazz landed in the top 5 in both 25 and 26, that asset is structurally blocked from landing in the top 5 again, leaving Memphis as the lone dissenting vote against the lottery changes that were approved.
I don't blame them. That's not right. If you trade a pick to somebody, you're saying that it's still barred because it belonged to the Jazz or whoever it belonged to.
Now, wait, there's more. The pick. So then secondly, the pick bounces to the next eligible spot on the draft board. If a team's combination is drawn in the lottery machine for a top 5 pick, but they have hit the 3-year penalty, the drawing is completely invalidated by the NBA front office. That would mean that the lottery machine keeps drawing up combinations until a team that is eligible wins that top 5 slot. The team or the restricted team's pick is then automatically deferred down the order to the highest possible spot they are legally allowed to pick, which is number 6 or lower in the top 10.
Wait, but does that also, just to be clear, that also counts if another team has another team's pick that they traded for?
That's what I'm talking about.
That makes no sense at all. So if Oklahoma City, let's say the Thunder have another team, let's say they have the Wizards draft pick.
Sacramento, Utah,
well, let's
New
say
Orleans.
the Wizards have the Hawks draft pick, which they have, by the way, I think.
Yes, they do.
They've
For the
traded some of their
Trae
draft picks to the Wizards.
Yeah.
Trade.
That means that if the Wizards have 2 top 5 picks in a row, 2 years in a row, and the Hawks have one of their draft picks, that the Hawks can't pick in the top 5 because it was initially the Wizards draft pick?
Bumped down to number 6 or lower out of the top 5.
That makes no sense.
This is ridiculous. Like, number one, I would have voted down this system as soon as it came across my desk if I was a GM of an NBA franchise. But this whole thing is nuts.
Wait, it gets even worse at the final spot of where we stand here, guys. To ensure that franchises are not finding creative math loopholes to navigate around the top 5 block, the NBA Board of Governors has granted Adam Silver even more unlimited power to expand disciplinary authority against the franchise.
We keeping a buck right now, we ass.
Thank you, Cam Ward. If a team attempts to aggressively tank while up against a consecutive year restriction, the league office has granted unilateral power, like Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars, to strip away their future lottery balls before the drawing even happens, or even manually reorder their final draft position to enforce the spirit of the anti-tanking initiatives that have now been agreed upon by the NBA.
What? No, you know what this is turning into? It's like a giant circus, what's going on. Adam Silver has too much power. I'm just going to say that right now. This is his doing. This is nobody else's doing. He believes that tanking is destroying the NBA. I don't think tanking is destroying the NBA. I think there's much more.
As you and I would say on Press Row, there's more damaging things going on between the betting scandal,
the streaming issues,
and then on top of that as well, you've still got aspiration.
Which, by the way, we were supposed to have an answer at the All-Star break for the Kawhi Leonard situation. It never happened.
Oh, Christy has a better one for us.
Clown show, clown show, clown show, clown show.
It is a clown show. The NBA draft is a complete joke. You know what? I get when you have the Cooper Flags of the world who are great and shouldn't have ended up with Dallas, who had a 0.8 or 0.4% chance of drawing the number 1 overall pick in the lottery system. Just do it by record. You don't have any issues anymore.
Boy, I can't wait for the tank for Olivier Rioux, who's 7'9", playing now at UC Irvine of the Big West Conference.
I mean, it's a disaster. And Adam's got to stop, because Adam was also talking about they want to use AI for officiating, for line calls, for out of bounds.
You can't really. It's hard to do. Well, maybe for out of bounds you could do it. You can't really do it.
Anything else, though, I think that's pushing it. I think.
No, he didn't say foul calls. He said out of bounds. Is what he said.
A guy stepping on the line, maybe, or like an inbound violation. Balls out of bounds. Balls in. Balls out.
I mean, they do that in tennis, and they're doing it in baseball.
Yeah, the Hawkeye system. I think they would use the same thing.
And obviously the ABS powered by T-Mobile for Major League Baseball.
I don't know. I don't think this is going to end well. And the most ridiculous part of that rule is that you can't draft if you trade for the pick, if the team has had it for 2 years.
That I think is absurd. If it's not the team that's actually drafting, why does it matter?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't matter.
I guess on some level they can. I guess their justification is that they can argue that their pick would have more value to trade if it could potentially be a top 5 pick, but I think that's really a reach.
I think that's more assumption than reality.
But I think that's stupid. Like, if that team isn't the one making the draft, if they're the one, if they're not making the actual draft, then no, it shouldn't apply to that.
By the way, there is some interesting news about the courts for the NBA Finals that just broke out.
So I hope they don't look as ugly as the NBA in-season tournament courts.
So, according to the NBA, they're bringing back the Larry O'Brien trophy at center court.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was always a great tradition when they had the Larry O'Brien trophy at court. Apparently, they said it was slippery over the years, and that's why they got rid of it.
Not like the Callan McClurg Memorial NBA Cup courts weren't slippery as hell.
You mean the puke color looking courts?
Which, by the way, DiMartino and the Knicks could become the first team to win both the NBA Cup and the Finals in the same year. It'd be a double cup, double trophy year for New York.
That doesn't even count as a championship. Stop.
Well, I mean, thankfully the Knicks didn't put the banner up for it. I mean, they still celebrated, but they didn't put a banner up.
Oh, you mean like the Lakers? Like the
Lakers and the Bucks both did, yes.
Well, look, it's better. Look, which, by the way, we didn't do that, and I'm proud that they didn't do that. But that is a little better than Kenny Atkinson saying we're analytically up 2-1.
Yes.
Nothing's worse than that. That's pathetic.
Kenny Atkinson is the biggest joke of all time, and he was the coach of my Nets for 2 years.
No, it's simple as Kenny Atkinson is a
dumbass.
Well, that too. I could have told you that. But that was funny, though. Nick, you and I could agree on that one, that he...
Analytically,
we won the series 4-0.
Or no, we won 2 out of the first 3 games. We won them on paper. All right.
Well, like DiMart said with Johnny, maybe don't blow a 22-point lead, and maybe it's a whole different series.
Well, what does that even mean? Like, if you win if you won the game on paper, but you didn't win the game in reality, then there's something wrong with what's on paper.
No, I agree. I'm just saying it's the most ridiculous statement of all time.
Wait, by the way, can I screen share this video I saw on Instagram?
What?
It's very funny.
Well, okay.
It's about what we're talking about.
Let's see it. Real quick, let's see it.
All right.
Eventually.
All right, got it. Oh, I saw this. I saw
it.
In game 7 tonight. Can we just show them the schedule? Let's go. The season is over. You can't come in. It doesn't matter. We are analytically engaged.
AI is so scary, but God, it can be funny sometimes.
I mean, look, that was so obviously AI, but look, James Harden
is so true, though. Like, come on, man.
I saw one of him and Kenny Atkinson like going through a turnstile and they wouldn't let him go or something.
Oh, in the subway station. Yes.
Yes. I was like, oh, like people have too much time on their hands.
The Knicks will be playing "Cool in the Gang" if they win the championship. Man, do teams still even play that song after they win games?
I understand, Christy. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll be happening.
I think the Los Oaklamento Athletics still play Celebration when they win baseball games, and they're not coughing up 13 runs to the Yankees at Sutter Health Park in California's capital city today.
The problem is the A's have not much to celebrate lately.
That's why I call them the Los Oaklamento Athletics. There you go.
All right, we'll see.
There you go. But with that, though, gang, it is the show that began it all, and now it's ready for prime time. Join Nick Morganson and Zain Bando on the official flagship show of the network as they cover every angle of the sports world with unfiltered insight that you need to get your day started. That is on ETB Sports, now airing live on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern, only on the ETB Network. Make sure you subscribe today over at youtube.com/ETB Network for Nick and Zain's grand debut coming up this week.
Well, live.
Grand live debut as they go on to episode 320 now, I think, all of a sudden.
Yeah, 320.
Mr. Morgan, we have some time before we get to the top of the hour. Any other announcements you'd like to make public here on the lounge this evening?
Let's see. What do we have? Oh, we're going to be doing NBA Finals post-game shows for Knicks Spurs. Look, I think we're going to do almost every game. I have to look into it. Game 2 might be the only one. That's due to a scheduling conflict. But we'll have that. Tomorrow, Nate Miller with his show Give and Takes will be live tomorrow from 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. So don't miss the debut of that being live on here. Well, I was going to say the other thing, but I think that's a read for later on. But we have some other stuff along the way. A lot of live stream stuff coming up. Just so make sure you tune into that. Did I miss anything, Callan, or no?
Not that I know of. I don't think so, as we start the month of June on Monday.
Holy crap, it's summer?
We are already halfway there.
We're only 3 hours away from June.
Hard to believe, though.
That's crazy.
That is just...
Well, summer doesn't start till like June 21st, I think.
That sounds about right. June 20th, June 21st.
We've had some days in the 90s already here in New York.
Ugh. Yeah. Look, I like that a lot better than like 30 degrees weather. That's like
and shoveling snow, trying to get the car out of the snow.
The ultimate sign of maturity is how you feel about snow.
We earned it after what we had to go through this
yeah.
It was bad. The snow was bad.
Yeah,
I remember I remember Morganson would send me photos of him like clearing out the driveway and clearing out the car, and
the snow was taller than me at one point.
Picking up
snow
off of the ground.
And I'm not short. I'm 5'9.5". The snow was over me.
You had to mention the half.
I did.
5'10" out of Long Island University.
Oh well. It is what it is. The snow is bad though, and I can pick it up. I could have almost broken a window with how solid this snow/ice was. That snow could have been a weapon
for weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, with that, though, guys, we'll get to hour 2 here, and we'll let Nick take over the realm here as we get to some NFL news, and more importantly as well, the first major news of the Major League Baseball Owners and Players Association exchanging their proposals to start off the labor dispute in Major League Baseball. DiMart, go for it, my friend. It's all you.
All right, what are we starting off with?
We got NFL. The NFL as we get close to the June 1st deadline for contracts and for where things stand across the league.
All right, so I just only have segment 1 in front of me on the doc.
Huh. Are you sure? It should be there. Let's see.
I see it.
You see it?
You may have to move your tab to the May 31st one, I believe, so you can.
Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah, I see it now. Okay, yeah.
So tabs are open. I don't know where the music's coming from.
Yeah. So now there's going to be a whole lot of There's now there's in the NFL news cycle, front offices are approaching the June 1st salary cap designation mark, assessing high-profile free agents, post-draft rookie contract status, and potential unexpected veteran cuts. Which franchise is holding the most volatile salary cap hand right now, and who is the one veteran name set to hit the market after June 1st that completely alters a division race?
It's got to be AJ Brown. What happens with him, right?
I'd say so too. I think that would probably. I mean, I would say probably
too. That I think a lot of people aren't talking about, but he could be if he's healthy. Though this is a big if. Alvin Kamara.
I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think people are going to touch him.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I still think he has a lot of talent. But the problem is the Saints have a terrible cap situation.
He's also got a lot of skeletons in the closet, too. that guy can't stay out of legal trouble.
Who?
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara.
Oh, Kamara, yeah. He got into that fight in Vegas.
Well, Brandon Ayuk was also another one, but apparently Jeremy Fowler said this morning saying that there's no interest from any other teams. Granted enough, he's in a lot of trouble.
They're going to have to cut him at some point. I know they want trade value, but he's not worth anything right now.
Yeah. It's probably AJ at this point.
Yeah, I got to believe it's AJ Brown. I mean, with somewhat of the exit from Philadelphia over the course of the end of the season, and so like a lot of the drama though around where Philly's at right now, just kind of. I mean, to me, that seems like that's the hottest name in the news though at this rate.
Well, I mean, granted, hopefully it comes to my patch, but like the relationship of him and Vrabel, and of course the Vrabel stuff. Already kind of talked about that ions at this point. So like, how is that going to kind of mesh back? If of course it happens, I'm talking about tomorrow at 4:00. I'll be looking at that phone because
for a winning team, the Eagles have such a dysfunctional locker room.
Oh my God.
It's so weird about that. Yeah.
The drama is terrible in that locker room. And Nick Sirianni, I think, is just an asshole too. I can't.
Well, did you see before the Flyers playoff game, Nick Sirianni was doing like the pregame stuff, and all of a sudden the Philly fans say "boo"? I was like, that's so Philly. Like,
the Eagles are a clown show.
I mean, they're a clown show, but they also just won the Super Bowl. I mean, like, are they that much of a clown show?
Clown show! Clown show! Clown show!
I mean, they're not that much of a clown show.
Well, wait a minute. Did you see Jalen Hurts' press conference?
Oh yeah, no, I'll imitate that right now. Here we go. Got my Pepsi. Pretend Nick, you're the reporter.
I forgot what the question was.
What's your thoughts on AJ Brown?
Oh yeah, what's your thoughts on AJ Brown?
So you're telling me you want to talk about this, huh?
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Thank you. I tried.
He'll be here all week, folks.
First of all, I think Jalen Hurts is way overhyped in my book. Also, I actually.
Also, you agree with me now on this?
I like him, but I don't. Now everything that I'm seeing in the offseason, like, is scaring me. Just the way he's acting and everything. I would even well, you're gonna get mad at me when I say this. I would throw Lamar in that category too. I think he's dropping off too. But
Lamar's been injured.
Yeah, but Lamar forgot how to use his legs.
Yeah, there was
He was hurt. He was told not to.
Well, then he's not.
He was told not to use his legs.
Well, I hope the Ravens change that, or else he's not going to be a good quarterback anymore. But with Jalen Hurts, I think he's overrated now.
He is.
And
I think he is a little overrated. I've been saying that for a long time.
Christy Wilson agrees.
You can also make a case about Brock Purdy because like a lot of it could potentially be the overall system. Jalen Hurts, what does he have? A really good system around him. Brock Purdy, same thing, a really good system around him. So when you actually look at the overall attributes, the overall player, Jalen Hurts to me, I just was the tush push is a massive big thing in terms of what he runs. The NFL specifically keeps giving it to him, so that's obviously one thing. His accuracy. I guess deep ball is I mean, in the Super Bowl, obviously, had a lot of good ones, but the Chiefs also were just blitzing at the time. So obviously, you're going to be blitzing a lot of the time. What happens? Your secondary kind of pushes in, and you have a lot of one-on-ones. You pretty much just have to go across.
I think I might break the internet right now slightly, but I would take Brock Purdy over Jalen Hurts right now. I
mean,
would.
It's the off season, so it's hard to say.
The
only issue with Brock Purdy is that he's hurt more often.
No, but I think Brock
because
Purdy...
they blamed that damn substation by the stadium up there in Santa Clara.
Enough with that substation.
Morganson, I don't know if you're gonna like this one, but I'll take Caleb Williams over Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, from the way they played last year, absolutely.
I'm taking.
Wait, are we talking about year to year or overall?
Well, I'm talking about from now and until the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, because also Caleb Williams is younger and probably has a greater upside than Jalen Hurts.
I think Caleb is a lot.
Jalen Hurts has reached his peak in all likelihood.
The one thing I would defend on that part is Caleb will actually use his legs to escape the pocket. Jalen Hurts doesn't escape the pocket. He'll get sacked before letting the ball go.
Well, it's also not just him escaping the pocket. It's the ability to have the arm strength when he does escape the pocket. I feel like with Jalen Hurts, when he escapes the pocket, a lot of the throws are just dump off passes or flat passes.
And that's what I thought made Lamar really dynamic when he was, first coming out of Louisville, was that he would make that smart play, to survey the field. And then if there's a hole to take it, go and take it. But now I think as the, age kicks in, injuries pile up. Now you're probably having a bit of a regression of more conservative play calling on their end, or his end, I should say.
Well, Callan, you actually make a great point because I do think Lamar, sometimes it's a lot of mental with him. When he's able to escape the pocket, yes,
it's too much in his own head. I agree.
It's also good for him, but also too when it comes to Lamar, it's when he tries to throw, he's just throwing confidence. He's fine. But when it's all mental with him, he gets sacked a lot. He was getting sacked a lot, and DiMartino, obviously, you said that he was injured. There was a lot of times, especially against the game against my Pats, where he was injured a little bit, but there was a couple times we just got to him, and he just didn't escape the pocket. He wasn't going to escape, on a breakaway escape, which is usually kind of an overall thing. So I don't know if he's going to be a big regression, but I am kind of looking at this year in terms of there's a little bit something there.
DiMar, do you have any hope with the Jets this year?
Do I have any hope?
Yeah.
What a dumb question is that? No.
Just thought I'd ask.
Well, I guess if there was any hope, you'll have the chance to get Arch.
Yeah, I guess that's the only hope I have, which is tanking. I guess, that's one way to do it.
Look, we got, for us, granted, it's kind of a tougher situation for us, but we obviously went through, Gerard Mayo and, Mac Jones, and we were able to get Drake May. Obviously a couple of bad years, we were able to get out of it. For the Jets, obviously it's a little bit more of a different situation, but kind of the, what are you looking forward to? I don't really know what, but,
Can we not talk about the Jets?
What's worse, talking about the Jets, how about the Giants?
No, the Giants are in a much better position than the Jets are.
Oh, they have their own internal issues right now, though.
They have their own issues. I was going to say that. Yeah,
I'd still rather be a Giant fan than a Jet fan right now.
I would say
look, the Giants are probably at the bottom of their division, but there's at least a somewhat bright future than with the Jets.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Well, the Giants are at the bottom of their division. The Jets are at the bottom of the league. So I'd rather be at the bottom of the NFC East than the whole
Jets.
league.
The Jets will be at the bottom for another 10 to 15 years.
I don't know. Maybe Miami has something to say about that.
One eternity later.
being a Jets fan is like, I don't even know how to explain. Like a Browns fan, like being a Jets and a Browns fan is probably the worst thing you can be.
I mean, at least you're not paying a quarterback $300 million in guaranteed money to be injured and then have legal issues off the field.
That's just the Haslams being a terrible.
Did you see?
In some ways, though, being a Browns fan is better than being a Jet fan because at least Browns fans are also Cavs fans.
That's not necessarily true.
Well, most of them probably are.
You better root for another team because Cleveland's not going to win anything anytime soon either.
I mean, if you're from Cleveland and you're a Browns fan, you're probably also a Cavs fan. So at least you experienced a championship in your lifetime. Jet fans is a little different. Most Jet fans are also Met fans and Nick fans, and we haven't experienced a championship for any of our team, or at least in a very long time, depending on your age.
Go ask Callan how that's worked out.
Unless you're Evan Roberts, DMart, where he goes the full Mets, Jets, Nets, and
I'm surprised you know who Evan Roberts is.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I watched a lot of the
whole freaking world knows who Evan Roberts is.
Yeah.
No. The only reason I'm impressed is because he's not in New York. So
I'm in like New York County, Connecticut.
Do you get FM? Do you get FAN?
Well, I mean, I listen to it. They have their shows on YouTube, so I watch them on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
They stream the whole day basically.
And I get it in my car too. 660 on FAN, and then Carton show. I can get them on SNY. On
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I used to listen to Kirk and Callahan every day. I used to listen to every show, and I never cared about Boston sports, so I used to listen to that show all the time.
I didn't listen.
Hate listening.
I
hate watching. Hate listening.
until Kirk lost his mind.
Well, Kirk had a lot of mental health issues, and then
Andy Hart, that whole afternoon. I don't know. You probably obviously he's been in a lot of situations. They had to swap out.
We talked about it. Yeah.
They brought in. Ted Johnson was still there. Andy Hart and Nick. Forgot his last name. Fitzy left. And Rich Keefe, who was on the mornings of 98.5.
There was a rumor that supposedly because of the story that we've been talking about for months that got them fired from.
There was a report about him maybe leaking some stuff regarding the Vrabel situation.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, but that's no reason to fire someone. It's reporting the news.
Wait, Rich Keefe was fired from EEI?
No. This was for Fitzy. This was
okay.
Regarding Fitzy.
But supposedly they changed out the afternoon drive show because they didn't like the fact that they talked about Vrabel and Rossini on the air.
They did talk a lot about it. I got that.
I mean, it's news, right? As much as Callan and I hate it because we basically wrote it to death. I mean, heck, we had the guy on. I said we had Tony Farmer. We had Tony Farmer on, who basically has been covering everything on this story. And I forgot if it was EEI or the Sports Hub that completely obliterated him on air the other day. Like, embarrassed him, too. Like, they were calling him names and everything.
Tony Farmer?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're saying, like, he's doing this because he's looking for attention.
I don't
know. I never heard of Tony Farmer until he went on Press Row.
But I'm just saying, like, do you really want to gain attention from that type of story, though? No.
I don't think Tony Farmer was doing that, though.
I'm curious to know who ended up being those people from 8-5.
Who knows?
I'm just seeing in terms of who could have been saying that.
By the way, I did find a pretty interesting story on NFL.com that Dan Parr wrote on Thursday, it looks like, about ranking the top 8 teams who could dethrone Seattle to win next year's Super Bowl. You guys want to run through this real quick?
Go ahead.
Sure.
All right, let's go to number 8. Kansas City at plus 1,500.
Who was it? Kansas City?
Kansas City at plus 1,500.
They're not winning shit.
Mahomes looks good, though, as of right now.
They don't have a good enough offensive core.
How do we know?
What?
No, I'm saying, how do we know Mahomes looks good?
Well,
I mean, there's been some slight, like, leaked video of him at practices.
I'm saying looks good in terms of, like, looks a lot better than I think a lot of people expected. Like, him, like, to even not even be out there on the field and doing anything. I mean, I'm saying he's looking good. The fact is, like, he's doing pretty much everything that in OTA is like what they're asking to do. Like, there's no limitations as of right now, from what I know.
DiMartino, any thoughts on KC?
I don't know. It really, a lot of it just depends on Mahomes' health, really. And none of us know what that's going to look like. It's just like the Tatum situation. None of us know.
Yeah. Number 7 on Dan Parr's list of potential Super Bowl winners over the Seahawks. Conor Rowland's Detroit Lions come in at plus 1,800.
I worry about the.
Well, wait. Let me ask you a question about this list, though. Are these just based on the actual Vegas odds, or is it just like
wherever the NFL's getting their odds? Dan Parr didn't list where the odds came
it's
from.
Probably from multiple. Like
it's probably Vegas odds.
Yeah, it's probably.
I don't know. I'm just going off what he wrote.
I'm sure it's roughly the same.
Yeah, I would say.
I mean, a little different, but roughly the same.
Yeah, Detroit, those at number 7.
No.
I don't think I don't trust their offensive line and their coaching.
Well, it's not. Well, you can look at every team and think of a bunch of reasons why they're not going to win, including Seattle, who just won last year.
Right. No, like
so far, this doesn't sound that crazy.
Yeah.
Number 6 is. Go ahead.
No, never mind.
Number 6 is Denver at plus 2K.
If Bo Nix is healthy, maybe.
That's not crazy either.
I like that.
I think it's one of those what ifs. I think you guys would agree. That's probably the biggest what if from last postseason.
I can tell you who I know who else is going to be on this list. Can I guess?
Sure.
The Rams.
Number 5 is San Francisco if they're healthy.
They're not winning.
The problem is they're not healthy.
1,700.
George Kittle's got to be healthy for an entire season for them to have any chance.
And they lost Jawan Jennings, so I think a lot of people don't realize he was a big part of their offense.
They lost Debo too, didn't they?
Wait, how are the Rams on this? The Rams have to be on this list.
So he's gone unless there's a reunion, but I don't see it.
The Rams have the lowest odds to win the or highest, however you talk it. They have the best odds to win the Super Bowl at plus 800.
As they should.
Let me just run through these in real quick. Number 4 is Philadelphia if they can get over themselves in the locker room.
I mean, I still think that even if they lost AJ, I mean, they did replace him with, Hollywood. Mikhail Lemon, I think is going to be a good pick for them. They have receivers. Like, obviously losing AJ is big, but Devontae, I think, is going to be a better, true number 1. Defensively, I think, with Carter has to stay healthy because Carter is a big part of their front. And then obviously you have DeGene and Mitchell. Like, that's not that's not crazy.
Number 3 is Buffalo, but how much longer is that window going to be staying open, fellas?
I don't think it's open anymore.
With how they went out in the second round last year?
I think all of these I think all of these are fairly reasonable picks.
Yeah.
If you were to pick of all the teams available, you were to pick the teams that would win the Super Bowl. All right, this sounds pretty reasonable.
Wait, Cal, this is over Seattle?
Baltimore, yeah. Baltimore's at 2, and yes, DMart, Rams are number 1.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm surprised because I'm looking at the DraftKings odds right now, and the Ravens are surprisingly high. They're at plus 1,000, and they're tied with the Hawks for the second odds to win the Super Bowl behind
where do they have my Patriots by any chance?
I don't know if Dan Parr put them in the top 8, which I find to be very surprising because, they were just right there.
They're plus 1,600.
That's still not bad.
You're a little bit behind the Chiefs and the Eagles at plus 1,500.
They're probably 9th, and he picked the top 8, so they're probably 9th.
I mean, that's.
Well, he said top. If you look at the, according to DraftKings, if you were to look at the other teams that have a chance to win just at the
go ahead, lay them out.
It's Rams, Seahawks. Seahawks, Bills, and Ravens are all tied at plus 1,000, so that's 4. Okay. Eagles and Chiefs are tied at plus 1,500. Patriots and Chargers and Packers are tied at plus 1,600.
The Chargers? Give me a break.
And then the Niners, and Texans are tied at plus 1,700, and then the Lions at plus 1,800.
Wait, the Texans are beneath the Chargers?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't really trust the Texans.
But their defense.
Have you seen what CJ Stroud has turned into? He turns into a pumpkin in the playoffs.
And they're talking about giving him a contract extension.
I mean, in fairness,
so does Justin Herbert in the LA Chargers.
Yeah, okay. Not as bad as CJ Stroud did last year.
Yeah, but
I just love
Herbert's
watching. I
overrated.
hate watch the Chargers every week. So you're not telling me anything new.
Yeah, but
I just kind of go like, yes, the two quarterbacks, I think just kind of pick up in terms of like, I can, whatever, it's meh. But I go with defense. I think just Houston just has a better defense.
Herbert and the Chargers are overrated.
The issue with the Chargers is that the issue with the Chargers is that they're constantly injured.
They're constantly injured and they completely beat themselves.
All these West Coast teams, by the way, all the California teams are so injury prone. What the hell is going on in California?
Substations by your stadiums.
What the hell is going on there?
It's probably the education.
Well, Cal, I don't really watch.
It's also called. It's also the smog in Los Angeles.
Smog.
Smog, baby.
I don't know anymore. I can't keep up.
Smog.
No, I think all of those make sense. And you said the Rams were there. I think all
they were
that
number
makes-
one.
I mean, look, those were the best options of all the teams. I mean, you can look at all the teams and say, no, they're not going to win. But the same is true with all the other teams that you could list. So it makes perfect sense.
I think the Packers could be like, I don't know, like the Packers. If Micah stays healthy, that's obviously the biggest thing. But I love the Packers if they're healthy.
If they're, I mean, the Lions, we don't know. I mean, look, the year before, the Lions for much of the year were the best team in the NFL, and they got really injured. So, and that hurt on defense, especially, and that hurt them a lot.
Callan, where's the Bengals at? According to Joe Burrow, they have the most talented rosters.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
They're probably like in
I
the
was
bottom,
talking
bottom
to Brian
five.
Gurus about that with Michael.
By the way, I can bet if I bet $10, on the Cardinals to win the Super Bowl, I can win $4,000.
Yeah, that's $10 you're never going to get back, though.
I know I wouldn't do it, but
It's $10. I mean, like it's not like it's like what 50.
I'm just going to say now, because it's going to come up in the preview anyway, I am picking the Bengals to miss the playoffs again.
I was going to say, do you want me to read some of these? This is from SB
that's
Nation.
not exactly a bold prediction.
Yeah, no. At this point, I'm going the Bengals.
Do you realize I got yelled at for 2 consecutive years by people watching the show?
Like I think a lot of people were kind of thinking, at least with their offense they had, but like now it's just like it's everything just mental with them. The Eagles obviously have a lot of like stuff. The Bengals essentially are basically a 7-on-7 type of team with legitimately the most important thing they miss, and that's the line.
I was going to say, do we want to laugh at a SB Nation writer named Jarrett Bailey who put out his NFL predictions after the schedule came out?
Oh,
for
no.
For standings by division. We have a lot of time to fill. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, why not?
So we'll start at the AFC North. He picked the Bengals to win the division championship.
Yeah, good luck with that.
12-5 projected win total.
What?
That's
They might lose. They might lose 12 games, not win.
So
12.
we've got in the AFC North we've got in the AFC North Bengals, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland.
Oh, I think Pittsburgh's going to win that division.
No,
I
Yes.
think it depends on it depends on health of. I mean, it depends.
If Lamar's not healthy,
the problem with the AFC North is that everybody is unhealthy. The quarterback situations are like it's hard to predict.
Walking Dead
Another
division.
thing to take a look at too, the AFC North has a lot of coaching changes as well too. So that could also play.
Fair point.
Look at the Ravens. No more Harbaugh. Look at the Steelers. No more Tomlin. Yes, of course, the overall team and the culture could obviously just present it themselves. But and I know obviously Morganson, you were talking about in terms of like how you're not a big believer in terms of like, didn't you say like coaching success? You're like it's whatever. Like you're kind of more like players in terms of how you feel with it.
for what? The Bengals, or were you talking?
No,
about...
you're just saying like I don't know if it was just you or somebody. Before.
Oh, you talk about coaching as opposed to the players? Yeah, a coach doesn't make a difference for me whatsoever. Yeah. You could have Harbaugh, you could have Belichick, Nick Saban. Like it doesn't matter who's the coach. If the players don't perform, the coach can't change the game at all.
Ben, I think you're gonna hate the AFC East predictions here from SB Nation.
No.
Let me take a guess since he already told me. All right, Buffalo at 1.
Yes.
Oh man, Miami 2.
No.
Patriots.
Patriots at 2.
Well, I don't hate that. I mean, I thought the way you were saying, I thought you were saying we'd be.
Did they put the Jets in last?
No, Buffalo, New England, the Jets, and the Dolphins.
I think that could happen. Like
They have the Dolphins winning, going 2-15.
That makes sense, though. They're a
Okay,
terrible team.
they're going to be trying to do what they can to tank.
And by the way, Nick, the New York Football Jets 5-12.
Like that's I think very possible.
I thought they were going to win like 3 games.
What
I
do
really
they have
did.
the Patriots at what 10-7? That's what I have.
9-8. I don't know why.
9-8.
They have the Patriots essentially going 500.
That's
Yeah, which I don't quite
I
understand.
know we have a tough schedule, but I think I still think
I do think that if they do get AJ Brown, that moves the needle for them to go from a 9 wins to maybe 10 or 11, maybe 12.
12. I think might push it. I think 11. I think will be the max.
Let's see who's next. The ever god awful AFC South.
Oh, you mean the division that no one cares about?
Let me guess. Houston 1.
Houston at 1.
Jaguars.
Defense.
Jaguars at 2.
Colts.
No, Tennessee, then Indianapolis.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I guess they're big believers in the Cam Ward hype train. I mean,
So they got Houston. They have Houston at 11-6. Jacksonville's 10-7. Tennessee 7-10. Colts go 6-11.
Oh,
Ouch.
They must be. Well, Pittman got traded, so that also could be. A big
Who knows about the health of Richardson or even Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones? Yeah, I guess they're taking a massive big part about that, but
They
still,
really see them regressing.
I still think that's crazy.
Time to bring back old man Rivers.
Yeah.
just for the health insurance.
All right, how about
be there at the end? So I don't know. Riley,
AFC West?
AFC West, Kansas City,
No,
Kansas City's at 1.
really.
because they probably believe in Mahomes. Obviously, the addition of Walker, I definitely could see that.
Chiefs,
Denver
Chargers,
too?
Chiefs, Chargers, Denver, Raiders.
Wow, Denver in 3rd, huh?
They have God dang it. They have Denver going 7-10.
What?
All right. Yeah. Denver's defense is ridiculous.
With
man.
a healthy Bo Nix, you're telling me they're not going to win 9 games?
They have the Chargers and Pats both 9-8 and missing the playoffs.
Wait, who are they missing the playoffs?
The Chargers and the Pats both being 9-8 ball clubs and missing the postseason.
Oh, stop.
Let's ask DMart. They
What?
predicted the Broncos to be 7-10. Would you be good with that?
Yeah, exactly.
10?
Yeah.
7-10. They have
That's
them behind
pretty-
the Chargers at 9-8.
Who predicted that?
That
It's the
article.
same story that we've been reading. SB
Yeah.
Nation.
I think that's. I mean, barring an injury, that sounds pretty ridiculous.
I wouldn't trust SB Nation. By the way.
I just want to fill Nick D in real quick. So AFC East, D-Mart, Buffalo, New England, Jets, Dolphins.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Jets, Dolphins, it doesn't matter. They're both going to suck anyway.
Well, they got the Jets at 5-12, and they got the Finns at 2-15.
If the Jets win 3 games, I would say that's a victory.
You said 5-12.
5-12.
If they win 3, I'll back off on the Jets.
I'm more 3 or 4. I think they're going to win.
That's what I'm saying. If they win 3 or 4 games, I'll leave it alone. But
5, I think, is a little optimistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For the AFC South, they got Houston, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Indianapolis.
Houston, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Indianapolis.
Yes.
I'm surprised.
I would take
finished seven in the
Jacksonville over Houston based on how they played last year.
They have Houston winning, going 11-6, and then the Jags 10-7.
No way.
No.
Tennessee is 7-10. They got the Colts 6-11 to end the season.
After
And then AFC West, Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders.
I mean, after the great start that Indianapolis had last season,
They have the Chiefs being a 13-win ball club, boys.
no way.
14?
No,
13 and
13,
four.
but still.
Wait, hold on. What record do they have for the Colts?
6-11.
It's bad.
As the bottom of the division below the Titans? That sounds a little nuts.
Jonathan
way.
Taylor? Do they realize Jonathan Taylor?
I mean, it's the same team as last year. In fact, if any, it's the same team they had last year.
That's I think with the uncertainty with the quarterback issue, because how effective is Daniel Jones going to be?
Even that, though.
I don't think he's going to be healthy the full year anyway.
So their playoff teams are the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Texans, Steelers, Ravens, and Jags.
The Bengals are not making the playoffs.
They have the Bengals in the AFC North.
Wait, say it one more time, Callan.
KC, Buffalo, Bengals, Texans, Steelers, Ravens, Jaguars.
I mean, outside the Bengals, I mean, everybody else besides that. I mean, you could either put to replace the Bengals either us or the Chargers. Like, kind of.
We still have the NFC, by the way, boys. I mean, this could be really, really something here at this rate.
Yeah.
All right. So for the NFC North, Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota.
Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota. That division, I feel like you could almost jumble that division in any order, and it would make sense.
I think that's disrespectful to Chicago, though.
Wait,
for you to say that is a lot.
They have the Bears at third.
I don't think they're a third place team.
So
I'm a big believer in the Caleb stock, so I think the Bears will probably be at one.
Projected records are Detroit 12-5, Green Bay 10-7. They both get playoff berths. They got Chicago going 9-8, fellas.
No
and the
way.
Vikings go 8-9.
No way.
No, the Bears essentially were. I mean, that's essentially the Bears from last year. Like they're going to take a massive step. Whether regardless of how you want to feel about them.
I mean, I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs. The Bears, we'll see. But I think that's disrespectful calling them a third place team.
Yeah.
By the way, for our good man Tom Albano,
Bad damn cowboy.
they got them winning the division this year.
Oh, with how many wins?
11-6.
The Cowboys?
They're not winning
Yes.
11 games.
So it'll go Dallas, Washington, the Giants, and Philadelphia.
No way.
They have the NFC East having 3 playoff teams with 10+ wins.
That's
To
not
DiMart's point, they have the Giants going 10-7 and tied for second place
Callan,
with Washington.
This reminds me of the AFC, the AL West with they're trying to get the Houston, Seattle, and Oakland now.
God.
Oh, you mean Los Oaklamento?
Los Oaklamento,
Los
yeah.
Oaklamento? So yeah, that's what they got for the NFC East. The dreadful NFC South. I don't know why the hell they did this. They picked New Orleans at 9-8 to win the NFC South division.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, not happening.
That's not that crazy. The NFC South is so atrocious.
And probably to no one's surprise, by the way, the bottom teams are all under 500. What else is new in that division,
Well,
right?
I think that whoever wins that division probably is going 9-8 or 8-1 even. I can see winning that division.
Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and then Carolina.
I think I wouldn't pick the Saints to win that division, but it's not that crazy. I don't think Atlanta winning that division is that crazy either.
But
Gotta
got
be
Carolina
healthy.
they have Carolina going 3-14 this year after going to the playoffs last year.
That's
That
BS.
wouldn't. I mean, I don't think they'll lose that many games. I can see Carolina being a 5-win team.
They're calling Carolina frauds after last year. Damn.
I would.
Remember, they almost beat the Rams last year in the playoffs.
It was an overtime game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no,
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was Stafford had a game-winning drive at the end.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And
I
then
like
for
the
the NFC West, to DiMart's point, Rams number 1, Seattle 2, San Francisco 3, Arizona 4.
That one's not surprising to me at all.
Rams, Seattle.
And they don't have the Seahawks making the playoffs either.
All right, well that's
That's ridiculous.
yeah. I would go Seattle 1, Rams 2, 49ers 3rd, and then Cardinals. That's me.
Actually, the Panthers and Saints are tied for Super Bowl odds at plus 8,000.
Jiminy Christmas.
Wow.
Oh man, that's crazy. And then for the playoff seeding, Rams, Lions,
Okay.
Cowboys, Saints, division winners, Commandos, Giants, Packers are your wild cards.
So
I think
Seattle-
it's too early. It's just too early to talk about the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Well, it's just fun hypothetical. I mean, Seattle does not be in it. Like they have to be in there.
Yeah, they got to be. I think that even I would say they're better than a 9-win team too. And I don't even watch the NFL, but they got to be better than a 9-win team though, right?
Their coach, McDonald ran. Granted, our Super Bowl team obviously wasn't the top one, but he ran circles against us in the Super. McDonald, he's a very good coach.
The over under for wins for the Panthers this year is 7.5.
Whoa!
I'd go under.
How many did they win last year to win the division title last year?
I think they went 8 and 9.
Yeah, they did go 8 and 9.
Yeah, because it was
was it a tiebreaker?
Tampa lost
the final game.
They won, but then they needed the Falcons to lose to the Saints. I think
that was one of the weird because all 3 teams were 8 and 9.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Got to do all that math to figure out what the hell's going on.
That division is probably the worst in the NFL.
Oh, by far. It seems like Southern divisions in the NFL are always so bad.
Well, I was gonna say it seems like every league has that one division that's always like
it's something geographic. Like the California teams are always heavily injured. The South, but usually it's the West Coast teams. It seems like are better, like in the NFL and the NBA. And the Southern divisions are always so bad.
I mean, we got the NFC South, the AL Central, just for like bad divisions, just off the top of my head in general.
Go ask the Angels how that worked out.
Yeah, well, they don't even know what city they don't even know what proper city they actually play in, and they're being sued again by the state again.
That's true.
You see, the Yankees scored 13 runs in the 3rd inning against the A's.
I think wasn't it without an out, like was recorded or something?
Yeah, they had 13 batters before they got an out.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Playing in a AAA ballpark, yeah, exactly.
I mean, Domingo Germán threw a perfect game against the A's when he was probably drunk.
Yes, true.
Was it ever confirmed he was like drunk or whatever the story was about?
I don't know if he was drunk at the time, but he had an alcohol problem.
Oh, so he didn't pull a David Wells?
I don't know if he was drunk at the time, just like after he. No, you think of CeCe?
No, David Wells.
David Wells too.
During his
David Wells did it too against the Twins in '98, I think.
Said he was drunk.
Wow.
Imagine what you would be like without being drunk.
Or go ask Doc Ellis, who threw a no-hitter in '74 against the Padres, and he was high on LSD.
That's more impressive if you ask me. Drinking.
Oh, Josh Gordon used to play drunk and high.
I was going to say,
and then he got thrown out of the league.
He was a really good high type of player with the Pats, though. I'll give him that.
Was that because I got high?
Callan? Because I got high.
He was probably smoking with Tom for all we know.
Probably. Wasn't it true that he got thrown out of the league and he had to go work at a car dealership or whatever?
Yeah, I saw a meme that said the windows are already tinted.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's great.
Oh man.
Oh, Callan. Right. Since we still have a little time.
We do. What's up?
What do you think about the World Cup? I know we don't talk about soccer, but didn't the U.S. play a friendly today?
They did, and they beat Senegal 3-2 in Charlotte today. I watched a part of it today. I've been dealing with some crisis stuff at home with a friend of mine, sadly, and I got to watch part of it today, and it was like a very good first start for Team USA. Which again, we'll have more about that, I think, in hour 3 about what we're doing here for the World Cup coverage and stuff. But I mean, hey, a 3-2 win is one thing. I think more importantly, getting Pulisic on the board and scoring was nice after he kind of got that monkey off his back and not being able to score for quite a while. But I mean, they look good they look good, and to be able to get that win though is nice. But again, just getting the wheels turning though for when the actual tournament starts in just over roughly. All right.
I've seen MetLife. I think they're running. I think it's $70. I think to take a.
No, and you got games though too at Gillette.
Got it at Gillette too. There is a game I think in at MetLife and then at MSG at the same exact night. I think.
Oh goodness gracious! Well, I think priorities are going to be that we're going to be at the finals and not at a World Cup exhibition game. Even Liam knows that, even though he's wearing a PSG jersey, because I'm sure he had to sweat through that victory over Arsenal on Saturday morning or afternoon.
I couldn't give a fuck about PSG. Only care that the biggest scumbag fan base on the planet took a loss. So that's
Yes.
They don't give a shit.
Hallelujah.
It was funny Liam said that because everybody like on X was like, "This was one of the greatest hate watches days of my life with Arsenal fans," and I think it was OKC. I don't know.
Wait, was that the game that Giannis was at because he owns a piece of the franchise?
Probably. Yeah, I think he does own part of PSG. Yeah.
Or was it
the one that he leaked Celtics on the bottom? I don't know.
That was bad.
I was sad we didn't get a Frank the Tank video about Arsenal losing.
Yeah, well, what else?
I mean, we get enough about when the Mets lose, for God's sakes, but no one about Arsenal losing.
I want to know if that was strategic or not by the TV network, like to put Boston Celtics under his name.
Yeah, that was cool. That was so cool, man.
It's foreshadowing.
It was either that or Miami.
Yes, Liam. One of my friends was like, "Oh yes, it's a great day to watch Arsenal lose again when it counts the most." Especially
we also have to say Fernando Tatis Jr. He is finally on the board.
Yes,
and he finally hit a home run.
They still lose the game in the series because they can't hit still.
Man.
So. And yes, it was the bullpen. It was the bullpen on Saturday for a change that blew
Hey,
it.
Callan, it could be worse. It could be Ben's Red Sox.
Nick, whoa, bro.
There's a lot of worse things.
But wait a minute. My team's winning and I can't freaking watch it. Okay.
Yeah, Gotham Sports, baby.
No, not spending $200 on a fucking app.
Damn you, YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess, though, DiMar, we could get to baseball, though, because we actually have some proposals that have been passed around finally for the impending lockout.
Yeah, although now that Liam's here, at some point, I think we should talk about the Knicks a little bit again.
Yeah, we'll circle back in hour 3.
Now that Liam's here. Yeah, so a lot of this there's a whole lot of news right now about the lockout. So they came to some type of deal. So dissecting
it was a proposal.
Deal just yet. It's
proposal.
Proposal.
Yeah, if it was a deal, I would have been jumping for joy because
the MLBPA and Major League Baseball owners officially exchanged their first formal economic proposals. With a potential work stoppage looming on the horizon, the panel evaluates. Yeah, so the friction points between revenue sharing, luxury taxes, and
salary cap,
all that. What exactly was the deal? Sorry, the proposal.
I have it. So it was 107.
Nightingale tweet, Nick, by the way.
What?
Look at the Nightingale tweet regarding that because he
I trust passing over Nightingale any day, but
I do too. Trust
me.
And
that douchebag Ken Rosenthal too.
Yeah. So MLB team owners have formally proposed a salary cap as labor negotiations with the MLBPA intensify, but they're also proposing a salary floor. So, which means that they want 171.2 million salary floor starting in 2027, 245.3 million top end cap, and then they want a 50-50 owner player revenue split.
What is it now?
I think it's pretty close to even. I don't know what the exact number is.
I think it slightly tilts towards the owners, but not by a big percentile. I think.
First of all, they're not going to get a salary cap passed in this sport ever. It's never going to happen. The players would rather go on strike and miss 2 seasons.
Wait, what?
On strike. We're going on strike. I still don't know what strike means, but we're going on a strike.
I think we are heading for a strike. Baseball's going to be gone for a while because they're never going to agree to a cap. The floor, I could see them agreeing to because you have owners that don't spend any money whatsoever, like Colorado.
I think the floor is the only right way to go about this. And I also think, though, Morganson, we talked a bit when Jeff Passan broke the news on PR on Wednesday that there's a lot of talk, though, too, that they might begin to strip revenue sharing money away if teams don't spend it.
Well, the other one...
Do you think, though, that team, that maybe they'd agree to a salary cap if there's also a salary floor?
No, they don't. The MLBPA has made it clear that they don't want their money being touched.
Yeah, the players are going to be very much Mayborn Tauruses like me and stubborn about that whole thing when it comes to the cap.
Well, the other one that's interesting, too, is they have a competitive integrity tax on teams who spend under $150 million. So I guess
that would have been the Mets when they were under the Wilpons.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's fair.
Or the Padres pre Peter Seidler, yes.
But is there going to be a tax for teams that spend a lot of money and have one of the worst records in baseball?
Well,
is there going to be one for that?
The rule that they're saying, if that 245 number comes out, people are going to have to shed salaries. So like the Yankees, the Red Sox,
Dodgers, the Mets, even the Padres will have to trade.
Yeah, so I don't like this whole salary cap thing. It's not good for the Mets.
We're legitimately as a small market team anyway, so why does it matter to us?
And yet you're in Boston.
Yeah,
that's for me to do, not for you guys to do. It's for me to do. Damn it.
Yeah, well, I should be saying the way that DiMart's saying, but our front office is saying other stuff.
The Dodgers, though, on the other hand, being just spending money, they don't care. They're just going to keep paying the tax.
Oh well,
yeah.
It's like you look at it as the Dodgers and then the field when it comes to spending.
But think about this for a second. So on the Shohei deal, which was what? It was $800 million or $700 million. Sorry.
Yeah, that deferred money is all but $2 million per year for 10 years.
No, but here's the crazy part. In the first year of the contract, they recouped all $700 million already.
It's ridiculous, man.
So everything that happens after that is all money. It's all profit to them after that.
I like money.
I don't know, but just because you spend the most money doesn't mean you're going to win.
Absolutely. The Mets are a perfect example.
I
You have to be smart with the money that you
Padres.
spend.
What'd
You
you
have to
say?
be smart.
Yeah, I mean, just because the Mets have an owner that's willing to drunkenly spend money doesn't mean they're going to win.
Wee.
I still think the Mets are regretting the Lindor deal.
I don't know.
Soto deal or the Lindor deal?
Both, but I think the Lindor one for sure.
I mean, Soto's been amazing.
Soto's doing his thing, yeah. I mean, he's
a little on and off, but yeah.
On and off, he's hitting like almost 300.
Yeah.
If they could pitch, they'd be a lot better.
He's by far the best player. He's the only guy.
I agree with DiMart. Soto's been crazy for that.
Soto's hitting 300 already as 12 home runs.
You know what? And I think I said this to Callan the other day. If I was every team playing the Mets, I would just walk Juan Soto 4 times a game and not pitch to him.
DiMart, I just saw right now that the Mets are not in the last right now. They got out of the last.
No.
Them and the Marlins keep flip-flopping who wants to be in the basement for the week.
You got swept by the Marlins.
Soto is the only thing that's actually going well for the Mets right now.
I was going to say, if they could pitch, they'd be a lot better, I think, than what their record is showing. And if Bulbachek could hit himself out of a brown paper bag.
But it's not just about pitching. In some of these games, they're losing like 2-1. You can't win games if you don't score runs either.
Well,
you're not telling me they knew watching the Padres offense go 0 for 33 over a 4-game span.
Well,
until Friday in DC against the Nationals, they finally broke the skid.
Although today they won 10-1, so I guess something's going.
Yeah, it's par for the course.
And Soto hit a grand slam for them.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about the whole thing. I mean, they can add all these other things. I even wondered about could they put like some kind of like spending apron like the NBA has. Even then, it's still not going to stop teams like the Mets and the Dodgers from spending money on players.
Yeah, I mean,
more of the blame for me goes on like Miami and Pittsburgh for just being dirt cheap, and especially
Colorado.
And that dumbass owner John J. Fisher who doesn't know where he wants to have his ball play.
That's a that's one downside about salary caps is that it incentivizes it rewards cheap owners.
Especially when you have a revenue sharing model like baseball does, and you just give these teams free money.
Wait a minute. If you put in the salary floor, then that would be going against
they would
those
have
cheap
no excuse
owners.
to not spend that money.
I don't know if you need a cap, but you need a floor. Owners have to be forced to spend.
You at least need a floor. I think you at least need to have a floor to spending. Because again, the players are not going to go for the cap. Like, can we just if you're the owners, can you just stop get that word out?
They're not.
I know they're not going to, but then, and I think what a lot of people have been saying though, and I think Morgan might want to get back me. Tom did a whole benchmarks episode about the 94 strike, about how that turned so many people off from the game and it boiled down again to the salary cap model. There's not going to be a proper way for like a cap of some type, but you've got to at least do a floor. And I think that the CIT or that competitive integrity tax would be really something, I think, though, that would maybe get some of these small market ownership groups like Bruce Sherman in Miami, maybe Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh to actually spend that money. Otherwise, they risk losing that free money that they get from the revenue sharing model.
Well, you're talking about all the local TV money also that they were talking about kind of
Which
evenly
knows where the hell
spreading out.
that's at because of FanDuel going underneath and down the shitter.
Well, first of all, everything is now going streaming and national platforms only. So what do you consider local revenue? Because some teams don't have.
Well, probably tickets, parking, concessions, and merchandise is your local revenue.
But I'm saying TV was a big portion of that, and now
TV was, and now it's like you have to, pivot, as the Padres have pivoted for 3 years, as they were the first team to get killed by the local TV issues 3 years ago.
Seattle.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the Padres were that. At least I knew the Pods were the first team to really get to be moved off of Bally Sports San Diego at the time to the in-house production. But then, as I wrote on Substack and documented too on Press Row, they also had made over $1 million in City Connect 2.0 merch the first day it came online back in April at a home game. But it's like you have to find other ways now away from TV now to make up that lost revenue.
But let's think about something. So the only teams that local revenue, at least from that standpoint, matter to are the big market teams that still have their own networks. Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Phillies, Cubs. Those are really the only ones that really matter, because didn't Rob Manfred come out and say like he wanted to put it all into one?
Yeah, I think it was what Project 20, like Project 28 or Project 30, whatever they called it.
You really think the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Angels, like Phillies,
hell to the no.
They're not going to give up that revenue. It's so much money for them. They're not giving that up. I mean, I think Rob lives in a crazy world, but I don't know. All right.
Like my thing with salary caps, like I understand the argument for a salary cap, but I just don't buy into the argument that it's necessary in baseball. Baseball's in really good shape right now.
Well,
it's never been more popular. Like this whole thing about like baseball, it's true. It's never been more popular.
Well, look at the World Baseball Classic this year. Like so many people tuned into that. No, for some of you guys, obviously it was whatever, but like you can't admit like that was a very good tournament at the end. Like
yeah, I mean you can't deny it when it's the only time that Marlins or Lone Depot Park in Miami's ever sold out.
That's it. I said that on Hitting for the Cycle. I said that exact same thing. So
because that was the same thing when Petco Park had opened up when we first had it in 2006. Yeah, the Padres were still winning division titles in 05 and 06, and then when it came back in 17, that was the only way that the ballpark was sold out, especially when you had Team USA playing here and they won their group to go to the semifinals in LA the following weekend or following week. My dad and I were at that clinching game where Adam Jones robbed Machado of the home run and Stan hit that big homer. I mean, the ballpark was shaking when Stan hit that homer, and it was, sold out. And now, sellouts nowadays are almost commonplace, but that was back in 17 when the Padres were still not spending money on players as they are now.
I just think in Major League Baseball, they don't spend money, but I think the other issue you run into is these ridiculous size contracts, which lead to fans not being able to afford seats or to go to games, or you have Major League Baseball who say, hey, you know what? We're just going to put everything on streaming and Netflix and Peacock and all this.
That's not a baseball issue. That's every sport putting.
No, but baseball is doing it a lot more than some of the other sports.
Well, the NBA is doing it a lot too. They put most of the playoff games they put on streaming.
No, I agree. Well, because they had Amazon and Peacock.
I mean, these are playoff games they're putting on streaming.
Well, my whole thoughts. I don't think they should put the playoffs should always be on regular TV. But
I'm fine with putting games on streaming. My issue with it is that it doesn't function well. It's not user friendly. Like I watch a game on Prime and it just pauses out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I have to click out of it and go back. Yeah. You can't flip back and forth between streaming services. It's just a huge headache.
Well, I've said that forever.
Yeah. But by the way, I mean to interject real quick, guys. So I did look though. So let's just hypothetically say that we get the salary cap in baseball. Here's your biggest offenders right now. Underneath the proposed reported cap and floor proposal, all but 10 teams would be affected right away if that became a thing. With as Morganson said though, the proposed cap of $245.3 million, and then the floor of $171 million. Teams affected by the cap: Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, Blue Jays, Phillies, Red Sox, Padres, Braves, Tigers, and Cubs would all have to do something to get underneath that threshold by trading away or dumping a lot of those contracts. So there you go. Those are the.
But that's not
main
going to be
keys.
very easy, though.
No, it
to
won't
dump
be.
those contracts. Or you're going to see the same thing where the contract's like Shohei Ohtani, where you're going to defer money into the Stone Age,
Right?
So that you're not responsible for it when it comes up.
And then exactly half of the league is also operating below that threshold of the spending floor. These clubs would be compelled to spend a combined total of over $600 million to meet the minimum floor. Teams like Cleveland and the Marlins are more than $90 million below the proposed minimum, requiring a dramatic overhaul of their spending structure, while the A's, Cardinals, White Sox, Twins, Nationals, Rays, Reds, Brewers, Rockies are all substantially under the proposed minimum as well. So, I mean, this affects everybody in some way, shape, form, or size, and that's what's going to lead to there being no baseball for the next couple of years.
The problem is both sides are going to propose both those situations adamantly. You think teams want to be told that they have to spend a minimum amount on their roster, and then the players are going to accept
my money?
Because if you put a cap in place, you're not going to see a $700 million, $800 million contract anymore.
No way. Unless it's going to be all deferred to like, the year, as Nick would say, the year 3000.
But here's the thing, though. Like, if you look at a team like the Mets that gave Soto almost $800 million,
right?
It's like, well, they're in fourth place in the AL East. It's like, it's no guarantee it's going to help.
No, I agree. I said that before, that money doesn't mean anything unless you win. But
unless you spend it wisely, which the Mets don't do. They have a rich owner, which I guess is better. It's better to have a rich owner like Steve Cohen than to have the Wilpons who never spent money on anybody.
Yeah, but you could spend wisely and bring in the best players. It doesn't mean you're going to win.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
They also got to try too, because the Red Sox don't seem to know how to do either.
I mean, and I was going to say, and again, I hate to rope in the Padres and stuff, and I apologize, but I think back to the 2015 team that really was the first team out of the box that began to kind of lay the foundation for where they're at now. But that was because of the spending power of Peter Seidler and the ownership group. But that was the Will Myers trade, the Will Middlebrooks trade, Derek Norris and Matt Kemp all coming here. That laid the foundation for one to 2 years, though, that it eventually grew to where it obviously is now over the last, 9, 10, or 11 years now with where they're at, though. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've got a bad feeling about this whole thing. I think a lot of baseball fans would share the same sentiments, though, in a way that, if we lose more time again because we're still fighting stuff back from 1994 and 95, then the game is really in a bad place. As DiMar was kind of saying, though, that the game cannot be in a better place right now at this rate.
But it's not the same thing. I think there was different money issues back in 94, obviously, than we're dealing with now because of all the streaming money and all this other money that we're dealing with. And I think it's different money problems than what we were dealing with in 94. Different structure.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, a little. I would say, I mean, yeah, the time, it's different than 32 years ago on some level.
Well, no, I'm saying because you didn't have all this digital revenue coming in either.
Yeah, you still had local TV, and you had ESPN, and you had, maybe TBS at the time or what have you. But even then, even then, you still were playing in a 28-team league back then, because you didn't have Arizona and Tampa Bay in the mix yet at that time back in 94. So, I mean, yeah, the times have definitely changed. I agree.
You're also not dividing the TV packages up into 7 different things either.
Correct.
So,
yeah, but I mean, how long? Like, it looks like there's going to be a lockout next year. The question is, how long will the lockout be? Like, if baseball comes back in May, I'd be like, all right, that wasn't a big deal.
This is not going to go away easy.
I don't think so. I mean,
salary cap is going to be the massive holdup.
By the way, for those that are wondering, so differences between both the 94-95 strike and the 26 potential lockout. First thing, of course, is timing and context. The 94 strike began in August of 94 during the season after the CBA ran out, and they still played through that season. The players that went on strike over the owner's proposal for the salary cap and new rules for free agency. This year, it's supposed to happen in December after the current CBA runs out. Owners are expected to lock out the players to pressure them on the salary cap issue again. Again, the strike, though, was the players refused to practice or play, halting the season. The lockout basically means the owners shut down team facilities and stop the players from training or playing games. In retrospective, the 94-95 season, their strike went 232 days. The last one we had in 21 was 99 days before they got to an agreement.
I think this is going to be ugly.
An agreement until 22.
This one, they're projecting to last between 4.5 to 5 or 6 months.
No, I think it's going to be longer.
The key issues, again, 94-95 was the salary cap, better control over players' salaries for the owners. And then for this year, owners want a cap. Players see it as a threat to their livelihood and the game's economics. The 94 strike ended, though, via a federal injunction in April of 95. The strike cost baseball over $580 million in lost revenue and also lost money for players' salaries. And then, of course, there was no World Series played in 94. And this is shaping up to be the biggest labor fight in baseball history come December 1st.
They said that was the one chance that Don Mattingly had to win a World Series. It was that year in 94.
The Expos may have been in the World Series that year, too, against the Yankees, for all that we know.
Well,
I don't know, man.
We'll never know. I agree. I think this lockout will be longer.
Hypothetical World Series? The SEC of World Series games.
Exactly.
I have to do a baseball show on this network, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many takes on this. It's just crazy.
David and Nate are going to be in for something.
And I was going to say, and speaking of giving takes, we all have that one friend who thinks they know everything about the game. The one who drops a hot take so wild that you just have to stop and stare. Well, now it's time to trade up for some better opinions. Tune in to Give and Takes with Nate Miller starting tomorrow on Monday night. The only show brave enough to say out loud what you're already thinking on television. Join Nate every single week beginning tomorrow on Monday as he breaks down the biggest storyline, shuts down the hype trains, and delivers the unfiltered truths that you would not get anywhere else. Fast, funny, and it's completely unscripted. Give and Takes with Nate Miller debuts on June 1st, and then every Monday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, right here on the ETB Network. And, of course, go like and subscribe over at youtube.com/ETB Network. Mr. Morgeson, very excited about that show finally getting onto the network lineup starting on Monday, June 1st. Going to be great.
Yeah, so you already hear Nate on quite a few shows, Hitting for the Cycle, Unnecessary Wagers, some other stuff here on this show, The Lounge. So this was his show that he was doing on the side, so now it's coming over here. He's going to do it on Monday nights, and then when the football season comes, it'll be on Tuesday night.
So you're going to be having you'll be having Nate Miller and Callan McClurg on Tuesdays when the NFL season rolls around.
Yeah, back-to-back shows essentially, pretty much.
Going to be great. All right, guys, we'll get to hour 3, and we do have Liam in here, along with, of course, Nick DiMartino, who lead the Unnecessary Wagers during the football season. Of course, guys, we have some more intel right now on the Brandon Sorsby ongoing gambling issues at hand as we examine the massive legal and systematic fallout from the following recent court filings ahead of Brendan Sorsby's temporary injunction hearing in Lubbock, Texas, which, by the way, we can report that the judge of the case had to recuse themselves, though, for being a Texas Tech donor and backer as well, much like I believe the Trinidad Chambliss story that also broke last season. With that in mind, though, guys, the numbers, as we know, though, that there's reports that have been confirmed that Brendan Sorsby placed over 2,900 impermissible wagers, totaling $90,000 across his time at Indiana, Cincinnati, and at Texas Tech in Lubbock, critically including at least 40 main bets on Indiana football during the 2022 season while he was on the active roster but was not playing in games. So, Liam, I'll get you involved with this one. Go ahead.
So he placed 29,000.
2,900.
2,900.
Oh, 2,900. Okay, I was going to say he had $3 bets. I was going to say.
Yeah, 2,900. My apologies. 2,900.
No. I think I may have misheard you.
Yeah. So I guess, though, Liam, I'll bring you in first here, obviously, with you and Nick having led UW for a long time. Liam, Sorsby's legal team claims he only wagered in support of Indiana while redshirting and never against his ball club. Does that distinction, though, in your mind, carry any weight whatsoever underneath the NCAA's bright line rules, or is his college career, though, sadly, officially in the grave? What do you think?
I think both things. First of all, I think it makes a gigantic difference for me. If he's not playing and he's betting on the team to win, I don't care. But is his college football career over? Yeah. They're not going to let him play. But I don't care personally if he's betting on the team to win, and especially if he wasn't playing. And I don't care if he's betting on other things as well. But they won't let him play. There's less than zero chance he plays next season.
D-Mart, I think I heard some. Oh, sorry, Liam. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
Yeah, D-Mart, I think I heard some rumblings. I think this is with like any gambling scandal that breaks out across the sports world. It's always these like, you were like maybe in your mind, like niche sports. Like I think he was gambling on EuroLeague basketball, I want to say, and, other things involving maybe college, sports out there, or maybe the NFL or whatnot. But D-Mart, your thoughts on that question, though, again, about the fact that, to Liam's point, though, again, that Sorsby's legal team claims he was only wagering in support of his teammates or of Indiana while redshirting and never bet against his team, though. But does that distinction maybe carry any weight in your mind, though, regarding the NCAA's own rules concerning gambling? But yet, though, they take a bunch of money, though, from these gambling sponsors.
Well, you also have to consider the source. It was coming from his lawyers, his own legal team.
Right.
So your own legal, like it's his legal team's obligation to represent him
is to defend him.
Right. So I don't blame his legal team for saying that. Like it's like how, just like if somebody's basically is a criminal suspect, even if they're guilty, everybody knows they're guilty. Their lawyer, their defense attorney is going to say, well, these are the mitigating factors to defend their client. So I'm fine with his legal team saying that. It's their job to defend him. I think it's a mitigating factor. I mean, yeah, it's better to, sure. I think it would be a lot worse if Pete Rose bet against his own team and was throwing the game. Like, I think that's worse.
Yeah. But the Black Sox scandal in 1919.
Right,
yes.
right. Like, sure, it can be worse than that. But the way I see it is, that's a line that can't be crossed. If you're an active player, you can't be betting on your own sport. I don't care if he bets on other sports. I don't care if he bets on EuroLeague soccer or whatever. That doesn't matter. Bets on the NFL, that doesn't matter. But if you're on the team, especially betting on games that you're involved in, it's not even just about the concern of throwing games and things like that. It's also the fact that you have a lot of inside information.
Yes, that's it.
So that also makes it unethical. I used to work at the MLB as a StatCast 3D operator.
Did you have to sign an agreement?
Yeah, and I couldn't bet on baseball. And I really didn't have any inside information. Sure, I would look up stats that I otherwise wouldn't look up, but I really had no inside information in terms of betting. And
it's probably a legality thing, right?
No, it's not a legality thing. If I bet on baseball, I wouldn't get arrested. It's an ethics thing.
Well, that's that's partially legal too.
It's not legal. Like it's not illegal. Like if I had bet on baseball working at the MLB and it got caught, I wouldn't be arrested. I would face no legal trouble. I would just lose my job.
I'm saying I think they're afraid of the legal repercussions.
Yeah, but that's not. Maybe they are, but that's not really the reason why. It's an ethical thing. And if you have like inside information or you're too closely connected to a game or to a sport, you can't have people betting on that. Like you can't have broadcasters betting on games that they call. I mean, I listen to Joel Klatt a lot during college football season, he gives picks against the spread. But if there's a game that he's calling, he never
won't do it.
Pick against the spread.
By rule, if you're broadcasting a game, you can't make a bet on that.
Correct.
Game.
He would analyze the game and break it down, but he would never say, and he'll mention the spread, but he'll never say, here's my pick against the spread.
And to echo D-Mart's point, though, about his time with Major League Baseball with StatCast, every front office member of the AHL club I work for with the Gulls here in San Diego, which is the affiliate for the Anaheim Ducks, they all also had to sit through gambling training and in a way sign as D-Mart said, sign away that they won't be gambling on hockey games, NHL, AHL, East Coast League, and they all have certificates that they have up at their cubicles, just to say that, hey, we did this and stuff of that caliber. I didn't have to do that, but still it's wagering out here is not a thing because of where I live. But still, like that, those steps, though, as D-Mart was saying, though, have been taken in some capacity to try to weed this up. But Nick Morganson, your thoughts on where things stand?
So, by the way, I found the fringe weird events that he was betting on. So, New York Times did a story on it. So, Turkish basketball, Romanian soccer. Wait, it gets better. Obscure tennis matches.
What's an obscure tennis match?
I don't know. That's what it says. And Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, he's betting on everything. He's
He had a guy. He had a
Wait a
guy
minute.
giving him picks.
That's
yeah, I'm
just
sure he did.
that's just the obscure stuff. But he's made bets on the NBA, MLB, PGA Tour,
The norm.
UFC.
All that stuff is normal to bet on.
So you're telling me that he was probably betting on Joey Chestnut to have like 70 hot dogs and
Yes, probably. I never thought I would see obscure tennis matches and Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest.
I mean, is he betting on like the top, like the bottom tier, like the bottom of the barrel for the top 150 of the WTA?
I mean, look, I'm no one to talk because I bet on Cardi B to perform at the halftime show, so it's not.
And you're
that
still
great.
pissed
It's
off
still
at Cal
worse than
Sheet.
that. Yeah, but I mean, look, none of that actually matters. If he's betting on the hot dog contest, all sorts of weird things, whatever, that doesn't matter. The only thing that really matters is betting on games that you're involved in. That's a huge issue.
And if you're sitting on the bench, it doesn't matter if you redshirt. You're part of a team. And also, there's rules in place as a college athlete that you can't bet on your game, regardless if you're redshirting or not.
And to that degree, Nick Morgansen's right, though, because red shirts are still listed on the roster, again, having worked in college sports. So they list everybody on the roster, whether they're playing or not. And if they are a red shirt, they have the R next to their grade, though, so you can denote that a little bit quicker. But, Ben, your thoughts on this story. What do you think?
Sorry, which story are we talking?
Brendan Sorsby in his gambling issues.
I just think it's crazy in terms of how like a lot of these players are able to kind of do this type of stuff, even though they shouldn't be. But I mean, yeah, it's hopefully we'll see in terms of like what happens. He's a senior, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, he had a $5 million NIL deal that just jeopardized also.
Well, that, and also I think I
Well,
said
who
on
cares? You would have just spent it on gambling anyway.
And I think I said on Cranium last, either episode 1 or episode 2, he also had to pay a buyout to Cincinnati for his NIL deal to go to as part of his transfer to Texas Tech.
I mean, that's the first time I've ever heard of that, too.
That's where things are at right now.
Yeah.
Nick D, did I cut you off a little bit earlier on this? Did you have anything else you wanted to add on this topic by chance?
Oh, no, I was just going to point out that, it is just a very slippery slope for any athlete to be betting on their own sport, especially in a game that you're a part of on some level. It's not that hard to go from that to an NBA betting scandal like we saw earlier.
Yeah, as Morgansen and I know very well, when it broke during press row and we just threw all the papers in the air okay, we're going to talk about this for the next 3 hours.
I mean, the whole Terry Rozier thing, we saw more charges come out because apparently he accepted a $100,000 bribe to take himself out of a game. You can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're handling it the way they should. I mean, it's not like Ben was saying, it's crazy. It's not that crazy. I mean, it's not that hard to download an app.
Of course.
No, I'm aware, but you can't accept a bribe of that proportion.
No, I'm talking about Sorsby. I'm not talking about the bribes.
Oh, well. And I love how the lawyer said, he went to a gambling addiction house, and that should clear him to have eligibility.
Well, again, you have to consider the source. It's his lawyer.
Yeah. No. I'm saying that's a ridiculous statement to make.
I don't know if he's addicted. I mean, it sounds like he might be based on what he was betting on.
Well, he went to a gambling addiction house. They said he had no choice.
35 days.
35 days is not enough to kick a gambling addiction.
No, but it can help.
Depends.
D-Mart, $1 million question, D-Mart. How much does this now affect the supplemental draft? Because I think that's the main deadline now that we're looking at by June 22nd. I think that either the charges have to be dropped or they have to come to some kind of verdict. Does this in a way maybe affect his NFL status, where maybe now might be going over to the CFL in Canada? What do you think?
He might. I don't know. I mean, that's tough. I don't know. I don't know much about the supplemental draft. I still think he could end up playing in the NFL. But look, gambling in sports, players betting on their own sports is a really, really sensitive subject. Not subject, but sensitive thing where a lot of teams and leagues just want no part of it and never want to risk it in any way. I mean, Sorsby is good enough to play in the NFL. He may have to end up going to the CFL. I don't know, honestly. That's really tough. That's really tough because we've never really been in this position before, so we don't really know how they're going to handle it. It's hard to know because we've never really seen this type of thing before. I'm sure it's happened, but it hasn't come to light.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, could he go to Canada, maybe get himself up to snuff, and then maybe an NFL team takes a flyer on him? Maybe
It's not.
I think my prediction is I think an NFL team will take a chance on him at some point. I don't believe he may not even play in a game. He may not even play in a game, but I think an NFL team will take a chance on him at some point because he's good enough. And I think there'll be a 30 for 30 about it too. I think
that wouldn't surprise me.
The perfect team
what if I told you
guys is the Cleveland Browns, because the Cleveland Browns always seem to kind of burn a team, guy in, and Deshaun Watson.
I mean, maybe the Cleveland Gladiators of the Arena Football League might take a chance on him before the Browns do. At this rate,
shouldn't. I don't know. But the one thing I was going to say is, though, with all this, the sports books and the gambling and all this stuff, like all the leagues that are now in bed with the sports books, P. Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
1,000%.
If you didn't have the deals with the sports books, I would say fine, leave him out of the Hall of Fame.
That's not the reason why I think he should be in the Hall. That has nothing to do with it.
No, but first of all, he's the greatest player of all time, in my opinion.
4,256 career base hits.
Yeah, Rose is the greatest player of all time.
Hits. Look
Well,
at
he's
his
the
hits.
most hits of all time. Doesn't mean he's the greatest. I think
he's one of
multiple World Series.
It's Babe Ruth.
I think he's one of the greatest hitters of all time. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
no. I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely.
But I think it cemented it when they made a deal with all the sports books that it's hypocritical. Because
I think I agree with you that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, but it has nothing to do with working with the sports books. I was saying this since before they were working with sports books. It has nothing to do with that.
How is that not hypocritical?
Because they're completely unrelated. Well, let me explain. But let me just finish. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame because he's one of the greatest players ever. And the way I see it is, if Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame, if Barry Bonds, A-Rod, if they're not in the Hall of Fame is a joke to me. If you're not letting those guys into the Hall of Fame, I understand banning him from working with baseball team, from working in baseball, things like that. I get all that. But not allowing Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame is a total joke. He's one of the greatest ever and absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, even though he bet on his own sport. That to me is a joke. The MLB working or being quote unquote in bed with the sports books really has nothing to do with it. This is my position regardless. That's really beside the point.
And the other point I'll make to piggyback both off of Morganson and DiMartino too was that when the news broke in May of last year, I did a video for ETB that reinstatement that he was going to be reinstated once he sadly died, which again, I know is ridiculous. Morganson, I agree 1,000% that it should have been done while he was alive, though. But again, the lifetime ban thing is only when after he died, which makes it even more worse. If you ask me,
look, I'm not a Pete Rose fan. He would I don't think I would have liked Pete Rose if I was alive to see him play. But the thing is, why are you waiting for him to die until you put him in the Hall of Fame? Do it while he's alive so he can at least enjoy it.
Because Callan said it right. Technically, a lifetime ban is while you're alive. But I still think it's wrong that we see MLB players in sports betting commercials and we see all these other things, but Pete Rose can't put him in because he bet on baseball. I think that's hypocrisy a little.
It's not hypocritical. It's not hypocritical because there's a difference between, I don't take issue with players being in sports betting commercials. They're advertising, but it's not the same thing as betting on your own sport. You're advertising for a company that is promoting people gambling on, whatever, on a gambling app. That is not the same thing as an athlete betting on their own sport.
Okay,
those things are entirely different. Just like, here's a perfect analogy. There's nothing wrong with athletes being in beer commercials, but they also can't drink and drive. Those are nobody has an issue with that.
Yeah, but for the longest time, gambling for the longest time was not allowed. Okay, and it was you would get crucified if you got caught gambling. Now all of a sudden they want to work with all the books.
But they still can't gamble. But it still is like that. You still can't.
Yeah, what's the difference? Yeah, there's no difference.
There's no difference. You still can't gamble on your own sport.
Yeah.
So but the point is that everything isn't so black and white. There is obviously a lot of gray area, and there's whether or not gambling is okay or not is not a black or white question. It depends on context. Just like with alcohol, it depends on context. It is okay to go to a bar if you're of age and have a couple of beers. It is not okay to get drunk and then drive home and then crash into a tree. Like that's not. Those are two entirely separate things. Just same thing with gambling. There is nothing wrong with me placing a $10 bet on a game, but there is something wrong with betting on your own sport if you're playing that sport. Like there's a clear, obvious difference. It's not about whether or not gambling is inherently good or bad. There's a lot of context to it.
Well, I didn't say anything about good or bad. I just said the connection to the sport. Because for the longest time, they didn't allow it. They were never going to allow it.
They still don't allow it. What? There's no difference between their policy now and then.
I'm talking about working with the books because they said they were never going to do it.
Right, but they don't allow players to gamble.
But the reason that they didn't allow players to work for the books is back then sports gambling was not legal. It was entirely underground.
Unless you were in Vegas or in Atlantic City.
And by the way, Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays were currently banned from the MLB. Were banned temporarily while they were just greeters at a casino, which I think is crazy.
Yeah.
They were just greeters at a casino, and they were like, we can't be connected with this. I think that's completely unreasonable.
I mean, if they didn't bet, you can't ban them. But
they were banned because they were greeters at a casino for a certain period of time, and because of that, they could not work with any MLB teams. They weren't banned from the Hall of Fame or anything like that, but they couldn't work with any MLB teams.
Liam, where do you see this Sorsby story going, though? Supplemental draft, Canadian League, indoor football, just because of the baggage he's carrying right now, what do you think happens?
He'll get drafted. NFL teams overlook crazy amounts of things. The Packers are going to start a guy on week 1 who choked his girlfriend just a week ago.
I saw that.
Brandon Sorsby will get drafted.
Here's the 5 things, let alone just 1.
His stock will fall, but he will get drafted. I think he's not going to play. The biggest loser in the entire situation is Texas Tech by far. They are the biggest loser in the whole situation.
Great point.
But I don't feel bad for them at all because I can't stand them. But they are the biggest loser in the whole situation. But Sorsby will go to the NFL. He's good enough to play in the NFL, and that's all that the teams care about.
Look at
Ben, what do you think?
What?
Ben, what do you think?
Oh,
You asking me?
Ben,
no, Ben.
go ahead.
Ben, sorry. Yeah, no, I think he'll get drafted. I mean, I was just saying, like what Liam mentioned, like they allow a lot of stuff to just kind of get away with. I mean, Rashid Rice is technically speaking still on NFL roster. Guy, driving 110 miles an hour on the street? I mean, like, what are we doing here? I mean,
Ray Lewis has a statue up after he killed the guy. So I mean, literally. So
I mean, like Tom Brady, my goat, deflated footballs. Allegedly, I guess. I mean, that's supposed to be.
Christie thinks Christie thinks UFL or the Canadian Football League. There's going to be an NFL team, I think, who takes a flyer on him, and then if he doesn't pan out, they're going to cut him.
I think he'll have a chance to go to the pros, but I don't know if he's going to stick there.
I mean, if Diego Pavia can get a deal, I think Sorsby could.
Diego Pavia is just a jerk. Brendan Sorsby, this is something much more serious.
And didn't Pavia get a 3-year deal from the Ravens too, or something like that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, to be a water boy.
No, but I'm just saying, if according to your theory, if you're saying that they're just going to overlook everything, then I think someone will take a chance.
Look, NFL teams overlook quite a lot.
As we already mentioned,
I mean Jalen Carter killed somebody drag racing.
I mean, they're the poster child for domestic violence, for crying out loud, the NFL. And they let all this shit go.
So it's not crazy to me that they wouldn't that they would overlook something like this. Yeah, Jalen Carter was literally the ninth pick in the draft.
Yeah.
I think he'll get like a prove it to me contract, and if it doesn't pan out, they'll just cut him loose. And he'll probably find a home somewhere else in like the UFL, CFL, or damn indoor football, for all that I know.
He might like that because then he could bet on the NFL.
That's true.
That's true. That is a very much a true point. Liam, thanks again for being on here. Obviously, we talked a bit about the NBA Finals. Last night's game, too, again on Saturday with the Spurs and the Thunder, with the Spurs knocking out Oklahoma City 111-103. Liam, maybe any thoughts passed along from Game 7 before we get to the NBA Finals? Just for you.
Yeah, I never thought for any point of the game at any time that Oklahoma City was going to win the game. San Antonio wanted it way more than Oklahoma City. Even when Oklahoma City was cutting it close, I never thought they were going to win the game. San Antonio was way better. They played way harder. Holmgren should be embarrassed that he put up 2 shots, beyond embarrassed.
Yep.
And they just wanted it way more. SGA was the only guy that was doing anything for them, and the Spurs looked like they wanted it more. The Spurs aren't much better than the Thunder talent-wise. They're not better than the Thunder talent-wise. They wanted it way more. The Thunder did have 2 of their best players out, but the Spurs were the better team the entire night. It wasn't even close.
The thing too, Liam, like you mentioned about they obviously had a lot of those guys out. J Dub was the one that was hurt, right?
J Dub, Jalen Williams.
He played in the game that they was it game 6 when they were up 3-2, and they were blown out. So it's like
he wasn't healthy still either.
Yeah, the whole series was like that too, though. Every team won in a blowout except for
games 1 and 7.
Yeah,
well, but 7 was double digits for a lot of the games.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. It was double digits.
OKC was playing catch up all night.
I'm just saying. I mean, Chet, even when the Thunder won last year, I thought Chet was very up and down, in terms of his overall play. They were able to kind of get away with kind of the stuff that he was able to kind of do, but you go against Wemby, I mean, you gotta at least be a little bit more of an impact if you're.
I mean, 4 points on 2 shots. I mean,
craziness,
embarrassing.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Wonder if Wemby got into his head.
And even when he got the ball, he would just stand there, he would try to
He didn't want to shoot it almost every time he touched the ball.
Yeah, I thought you were supposed to average 17 a game.
He just, I don't know. Wemby was scaring him away from the paint.
That's what I just said. I wonder if Wemby was getting into his head as the series prolonged, and then it gets to game 7, that big crescendo game, and then all of a sudden you kind of tense up a little bit too much.
Yeah, but I think Liam said it right. The injuries were bad. The recipe for disaster. Shai playing 43 minutes in this game is.
He's the only one who did anything.
Yeah,
I understand, but he can't play 43 minutes.
No, he can't.
And also, and I'm glad Liam said what Nick Morganson also said though as well, that the Spurs just seemed like they wanted it more. They were more aggressive, more hungry, and they wanted that win in that game more than Oklahoma City did, and OKC just laid a massive egg.
I think they also had fresher legs because they're younger. But
also too, shout out to my guy here, Stephon Castle.
Yeah, he had a good game.
Guy is an absolute baller. He's a freak, and definitely somebody to watch out for in the finals.
By the way, that block in Game 7, Mr. Luke Cornett.
Luke, yes,
that swung the game at the end completely.
Yeah,
and also if we're giving out college shout outs, congratulations, Mike Brown of the University of San Diego, taking the Knickerbockers back to the finals for the first time since '99.
And like I said before, it's too bad they're going to lose the NBA Finals.
I'm taking Knicks in 7.
They already have 2. What are you talking about?
I bet
they're not beating the Spurs.
I placed a bet. I placed a bet on the Knicks. It wasn't a prediction bet. It was just I thought it was good odds. It was good odds bet.
Spurs in 7, but I think it could go either way. Part of it, this is where I see it. The Knicks obviously been phenomenal all playoffs. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, they're putting up absolute records. Wouldn't be shocked, of course, if they won the whole thing. The biggest thing about the Knicks that they've been able to excel really well with that I don't know if they could be able to do against the San Antonio's team is 2 things. One is pace.
Yeah.
Pace is a big thing when the Knicks essentially were going on a lot of their runs. And credit to them, don't get me wrong. You saw Cleveland and their defense give up, they gave up. Essentially, they would miss a lot of outside shots and they wouldn't get back. And you heard it time and time again from Reggie Miller. Well, Cleveland's not getting back enough. They're not. San Antonio is a team that's not going to be able to allow a lot of that to happen. And they just went into one of the most hostile environments, defending champs team to be exact, and to go in and win, where a lot of people I think really did not expect that to happen. I mean, that's one thing I think I gotta watch in this series is how can the who's going to win the pace battle? That's going to be a big thing, and I think that this is going to be the one team I think that the Knicks are going to have to be challenged when it comes to pace so far. Because the Sixers haven't been paced. The Cavs really weren't paced. I think this is going to be a different ballgame.
And by the way, the Knicks have not been tested the entire playoffs
whatsoever.
They're beating the shit out of the teams that they play. That's the dumbest argument. They're beating the teams that they play. They're beating the shit out of them.
Yeah.
That is the worst argument. They're playing playoff teams. They're beating the living shit out of them. That is the worst argument. They're beating the crap out of them. The Thunder.
Wait a minute. So you're saying
the Lakers without their best player?
Hey, hold it tight. Stop. We're done here. Stop. Go ahead, DiMart.
No, I was just gonna say, like, for you to say that they haven't faced real opponents, I think that's just a ridiculous argument.
They haven't.
Because maybe they were real opponents, but it just looks like that because the Knicks were beating the shit out of them, so it looks like they're not real opponents.
I will also say,
okay, like if you say the Cavs are not a real opponent, they were a 52-win team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. The only team that made the Cavs give up was the Knicks. The only team that they gave up against that the Cavs gave up against was the Knicks. If the Cavs are a team that gives up, why didn't they give up when they were down 3 to after they lost Game 6 against Orlando or against Detroit? They won both of those series in 7 games. The Cavs in the playoffs were one of the more resilient teams, actually. They won 2 7-game series after losing Game 6, and everybody was doubting them. The only team that made them give up was the Knicks. The Sixers came back from 3-1 against the Celtics and won the series in 7 games. Were they a real opponent then, or were they only not a real opponent when they played the Knicks? Like, were the Cavs not a real opponent when they beat the Pistons?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I don't think the Sixers were a real opponent against the Celtics. I think the Celtics just gave up.
So you think a team that comes back?
The Celtics weren't good. The Celtics were not a good team. The Celtics, all they did was shoot threes and shoot threes and shoot threes and shoot threes.
No, that's true.
I agree.
That was a coach. So Liam, the thing is, that's a coaching thing. But if you actually look at the roster, I thought our roster was a decent roster.
Here's the thing, though. How can you say that they're not real opponents? I mean, you're still like, okay, their schedule, I'm not saying it could have been harder. None of those teams were as good as the Spurs. Frankly, before San Antonio, Oklahoma City didn't play a tough schedule either. They played 2 very injured teams.
But wait a minute.
Why is it only the Knicks who get criticized for their schedule and not Oklahoma City?
Billy is an embarrassment, okay? Embiid was not healthy the entire series. Okay.
But they did come back 3-1 on us. I mean, that was something.
They came back 3-1. This is the same team that came back 3-1 against the Celtics. The Cavs are the same team that won 2 7-game series. They were a resilient team until they played the Knicks. The Knicks were the only team that made them give up. So to say the Cavs are not a real opponent is completely ridiculous.
When did I say the Cavs? I said the 2 series before it were not real opponents.
You said the Cavs were not a real opponent. That's
no, I didn't say that. I said the 2 series before were not real opponents.
But why? They had the toughest first-round matchup. They had a tough first-round matchup. That was the only time they lost 2 games. They've lost 2 games the whole playoffs by 1 point in each game.
They should have lost no games to Atlanta.
And
your criticism is that they lost 2 games. Okay, so they lost 2 games in round 1. They haven't lost a game since after going down 2-1 against Atlanta.
And I believe if I saw the stat right on ESPN or NBA TV that they've won, I think 11 straight playoff games now since losing that second game to Atlanta back in round 1.
No one's debating that. I know they've won 11 games, but I'm tired of the Knicks bias I've heard over the last 3 or 4 days where everyone is saying the Knicks are going to run away with this series. I'm getting tired of hearing that.
No, I'm not saying they're going to run away with the series. I can see them winning the series. I can see it going either way. The Spurs are the favorites. There's no doubt about that. But it's worth noting that the Knicks on this run have been like they're more dominant than the 2017 Warriors were on their run. I mean, this is a plus 271 score. Their scoring margin was plus 271. I did the math. That is an average of 19-point game.
No, I know.
An average of 19 points. No team, we've never seen a team be this dominant in a playoff run, which counts for something. That has to count for something.
Good luck against a top 3 defense.
And I was gonna ask though, Nick or Liam, where are the odds at right now as we approach game 1? I mean, I would think the Spurs are a slight favorite.
It's plus 205 and minus 170.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. This is gonna be something. So Morganson obviously gonna have a side for you, but for DMart, this is where I'm gonna have your side. The Knicks have legitimately. You were talking about, of course, how they were playing the Cavs. They broke the Cavs so bad that they had their head coach questioning if they were playing analytics here for the overall series.
Right.
like
And they did the same thing to the Hawks. They dismantled the Hawks. They're up 70-29 in an elimination game at one point on the road against the Hawks.
They had James Harden saying, "Oh, we were a better team, brother." You see what the scores?
Yeah, but Liam, that's defending my point more that there was never a competitive series against Atlanta.
It was a competitive series. They were losing in the series at one point.
They destroy. Here's the thing, though. You're saying that these opponents aren't good enough, but the Knicks just destroyed them. Like, what else are you supposed to do?
Right.
Like, even if you think it's true that those aren't real opponents, they're destroying them by like 30 points a lot of these games. And before you say they're not real opponents, it's not the Washington Wizards. They're playoff teams.
Never said that.
The Celtics in 2024, we had the similar type of thing of we had a lot of guys who played every single round that were hurt. But it's like if you actually saw the overall roster we had, like we went through Indiana, we played Cleveland. It's like,
how are you defending Wemby? That's the answer I want.
So here's the thing. So the Knicks have to not worry about Wembanyama at all. They have to go in and say Wembanyama is going to score 45 points tonight, no matter what we do, and they have to worry about the rest of the team. Wembanyama is the best player in the NBA. He could be one of the greatest players ever to play basketball. If the Knicks worry about him too much, they have a problem. Don't worry about Wembanyama. He's going to score 45 points, and then go for it.
Now, if I can backtrack real quick to last Tuesday, I said why the Knicks got where they were wasn't, to slam one thought about, playoff opponents or this. I said it was mainly because, for one, they were healthy till Robinson broke his pinky. But also, I think that something mentally, seemed to change as the playoff run was going. And I said this because a lot of times in sports, having been, playing sports for 15 years before I stopped playing, is that you learn to block out the noise when you hear people talking about you and that, this team is here, that team's here, they're better than you, they're whatever it is. And somehow the Knicks and Mike Brown and his coaching staff are like, play your game. Worry about who you're playing on the other side. Don't worry about Boston and Philadelphia and Atlanta and whoever else you're, that's playing in the other series. Worry about what's in front of you right now. And I also thought that the Knicks, though, until Robinson got hurt, they felt to me like they were the most healthy group of players until Robinson broke his pinky. And that goes a long way, though, guys, in any playoff run, if you ask me, all the way through and through, that if you're healthy all the way through, you should be playing at a top level. And that's what I think killed Oklahoma City, as I said a bit earlier in the show, about having, some injuries, pop up at the worst possible time, where, Ben, real quick with you and me, that's what I think killed Colorado in the Western Conference Final for the NHL against a very good Vegas team right now who's playing Carolina for the Stanley Cup starting on Tuesday night.
Yep.
But the one thing I will give you, because I think people are overreacting, is to the Robinson pinky injury. People are overreacting to that big time. He's going to play.
Yeah.
He's going to play.
And also, if there's anybody on the Knicks that really can guard Wemby, it would be Robinson.
Well, the Knicks have had pretty good success. I mean, granted, it's a small sample size. They've had pretty good success so far against the Spurs. And so, the Spurs, I think the biggest thing, and Liam, I got to slightly disagree a little bit in terms of what you're saying, in terms of, yes, I do think, Wemby's of course going to get his, but you also have to take a look at what also the Spurs were doing with Boston in Game 7. Julian Champagnie, a guy was 6 of 9 from 3. De'Aaron Fox, if he could get going, of course, he was kind of a little bit banged up. Like, they do have a complete team, but obviously, would you rather, focus on Wemby and let, others beat you? Or, you kind of have to play devil's advocate.
That's what I was saying. That was to my point. My point was they have other guys on the team. If you focus too much on Wembanyama, then you would screw yourself. Wembanyama is going to get points, but they need it. The other thing is the Thunder and the Spurs clearly hate each other. The way that the Spurs reacted last night after they won the game, that was, to me, their championship. They wanted to beat the Thunder so bad. They did it. They reacted like that. And now I think then they're prime. The first game is the biggest game.
And I mean, I don't know. The whole debate of the rest versus rust thing, I'm tired of hearing that too. I think that's kind of ridiculous also. But
well, if you want to talk about rest or rust, it's like, I don't even know how much it matters in this series, because Oklahoma City, they played game 4 last night. They don't play till Wednesday. That's pretty sufficient rest.
No. I'm saying I don't. When people say, rest versus rust, but it doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it.
Knicks before the Eastern Conference Final had like 7 days off, and
but the Knicks should have lost that first game though. They did the rust showed for the Knicks in the first game until
at least for the first 3.5 quarters.
So I think here's the other pressing question though. If you're Mike Brown, do you double team Wemby at some point to start, or you try to keep this game close? Like, what would you guys think though? Nick and Liam, I'll ask you guys since you're the Knicks fans here. Dimar, start with you. If you're Mike Brown, how do you go about planning to face the San Antonio lineup come game 1? Like, what are you doing? I think more importantly, what's going to kill the Knicks though is going to be foul trouble, especially with Cat facing Wemby down low.
Well, we don't know if Cat's even going to be how much time Cat's going to be guarding Wemby. I mean, that worries me a little bit if Cat guards Wemby. And Robinson's going to be playing too. I think that if Robinson can guard Wemby, I think they're going to start hacking Mitch quite a lot.
Well, that and you beat me to my point. Yeah. I don't know how long they're going to keep him out on court because they're going to be 4-on-5 technically every time.
Four and a half of them having that, having the pinky wrapped up or in a splint or whatever.
I'm okay. Maybe with double teaming Wemby, but I feel like there would be some pretty negative consequences because Wemby can easily get around that.
If you do that, that's a kick and pop 3 from Castle or somebody, and it just opens
the problem.
Up the floor.
I don't think that's going to work. I agree with Liam. I feel like we can't worry too much about Wemby, and we really just need to focus on everybody else because I think that would give us the best chance of winning. Is to really just shut down everybody else, and if Wemby's the only guy who can really go off, well, maybe. I think that gives us the best chance.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I agreed. Again, he's too tough to guard Wemby because you can play him. You can't really even play him up top because he can hit threes. So he's too tough to guard. They have to worry about the other guys on the team, and
that is such a scary thought that we got a guy 7'4" draining threes from right down Broadway.
I will say, as great as Wemby is. And he's probably could still do this in his sleep no matter what. I feel like Wemby doesn't take a lot of hook shots though. At least
he doesn't have to.
No, he's dunking that thing or he's going beyond the arc.
But just at least trying to I never see him attempt it a lot. I mean, doesn't have to. Great, I do understand it, but
I think that's a lost art though, like bunting in baseball.
I think he also affects way more shots defensively than any other player I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Was it at the end of Game 7? He was running all the way down court.
There was a couple times I would think the Thunder had on man back rushes and Wemby was just right there, and then instead of trying to drive it, it's they would try to either pass it back or try to shoot the 3.
And they would turn it over usually
because they're so afraid of getting blocked.
I think the one guy though that really has been a big part to the Knicks' success, 2 guys, is Mikal Bridges has just been unbelievable. In this because. Everybody of course want to talk about the 5 picks or whatever. And I think just Brunson and Towns obviously been fine, but Bridges really kind of took that team pretty much from a really good team to a really phenomenal team because he was making a ton of outside shots. He was really good in transition and also really good defensively. And then, of course, you have Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet, my goodness, was, dropping buckets left and right in the last couple games. They get all of that. I do think if the Knicks have a lot of that type of balance, I do actually have them winning the finals. But it's just going to come down to in terms of what the balance can the Knicks have consistently. It's going to go 7 games.
That's expecting a lot though out of some of the role players of the Knicks.
But they've shown it though all playoffs.
I'm not disagreeing. You're right. But it's expecting a lot out of some of these guys who have never been to the finals.
I mean, look at the
neither of any of the Spurs guys, though. I mean, you could say that too. And the other thing is the atmosphere. So New York City has been insane for people that don't live in New York. The Knicks are the closest thing we have to a one team. There's another team that plays in New York that's a joke. They don't have any fans. So the Knicks are the main team. The Knicks are the closest thing we have. The Yankees, half the city hates the Yankees, half the city hates the Giants, half the city hates the Rangers. The Knicks are the closest thing we have to one team. So when they go into Game 3, the atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. The kids on the Spurs are young, really young. They're 19, 20, and 21.
I wasn't turning that. I wasn't turning that against one another. I'm saying that. I'm just saying that both sides it's going to be a lot on both sides because a lot of these guys have never
Agreed, but the guys on the Spurs are really young, which the Knicks have not been to the finals, but they have more experienced players in terms of age and stuff. I mean, to throw Harper and Champagne and Wemby in there at that age is not always the easiest thing to respond to, especially if the series is tied. I think it's going to be 1-1 going into 3.
I would hope it's 1-1 heading to the Garden. I mean, MSG is going to be on fire when they come back for Game 3, Game 4, Game 6, hopefully.
I just think a big factor. I just hope Karl Anthony Towns doesn't get in foul trouble trying to.
If he's in foul trouble early, I think Nick and Liam would agree that they're in trouble if that happens.
I don't know
possibly, but the problem with Karl Anthony Towns is you don't know what Karl Anthony Towns is going to play that day.
Is he gonna be
That's
the
fair.
Is he gonna be the big cat or the little cat? What's he gonna be?
Exactly.
That's fair because he'll have amazing games and then sometimes he'll disappear off the face of the planet.
Yes. Although he hasn't had those games where he's disappered off the face.
No,
of the
I agree.
planet this
No,
year.
no.
That's really good.
I'm
You
not
can also
debating
say
that.
that about Bridges too. Bridges is the same exact way.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
fair
debating.
point.
Karl Anthony Towns has had an incredible playoffs, but you just hope he doesn't just shrink.
Like
in the
last
NBA
year, there were a
playoffs.
lot of times when Bridges hit like really big clutch shots, but they wouldn't have been clutch shots if he just made a couple of shots earlier in the game.
Well,
It's one of those. It's one of those like, where was that earlier in
Well,
the
right,
game?
it's similar to like Brett Favre when he was playing. It would he would throw like 3 interceptions early in the game, and then he leads a comeback in the fourth quarter, and he gets all the credit for the comeback in the fourth quarter.
Bridges also worries me a little too because he can be a little streaky-ish from
He's
time to
very
time.
streaky.
And so if he'll have games where he hits 5-6 threes and then he'll disappear also, and then you don't get any offense from him, and then you're worried.
One guy I'm thinking about a little bit is Deuce McBride. He's had a couple of games this year where he was just on fire.
Yeah, he really has. So did Hart did too in Game 2. Hart was really good in Game 2.
And I don't like I have a heart attack every time Hart shoots.
He killed.
I want to ask.
Get the
I wanna ask
defibrillator.
DiMartino something though, because me and DiMartino have had an argument for a couple of years, which he's so wrong about. Where you think still, I don't know if you still think this. He thinks that the Yankees are the biggest team in the city. That you have to know that that's
They absolutely are.
You see what's
They
going on
absolutely
right now?
are.
Well,
Have you
because
been
the
in city
Knicks,
right
hold on,
now?
hold on. It's apples and oranges because the Knicks haven't been to the finals in more than 50 years. The Yankees are contenders every year. The Knicks is a much more recent phenomenon.
99.
The point I'm making is
99.
there are more in the New York area. I don't know about the 5 boroughs. It doesn't matter. But in the New York area, there are more Yankee fans than there are Knicks fans.
No way.
Without
No way.
question.
No way. You
Yankees.
think the area is as locked in to the Yankees as half the city hates the Yankees though. Half the area hates the
Baseball's
Yankees.
more popular than basketball, though.
But half the area hates the Yankees though.
It's not half the area. It is more. Okay,
The Mets are the biggest of the two of the sports. The Mets are the biggest little brother team. They have the most fans of any of the little brother
because
teams.
baseball is huge in New York. But I would say Mets Yankees is maybe 75-25 Yankees.
No way. It's
30, maybe
57-43.
2-3,
It's
maybe.
like 57-43. The Mets. It's 57. It's like 57-43, something like that.
That's such an oddly specific number.
But it's close.
It equals 100% though with my math.
It's closer than that. There are a lot of Mets
It is
fans.
definitely not 57-43. No way.
It's not 70-30. It's not
It is
70-30.
at
It's
least
not even close.
70-30 Yankees.
I mean,
That is
the
not
one-
true.
wait a minute. So the one thing I would say is I don't know if it's 70-30. That's kind of ridiculous. But I would say it's more like if you really want to say maybe it's like a 60-40.
Maybe 2
more
to 1. I'll
look at
give
it.
you 2 to 1 ratio. I think it's like that. But look, you're a lot more likely to find Yankee fans in Queens than Met fans in the Bronx.
I don't know about that, but
Definitely.
But would you agree that the Mets are the biggest of the little brother teams? They have the most. They have the biggest percentage of the split of the little brother team. The Giants are. I would say the Giants are closer to 70-30.
Yeah.
There's a bigger gap between Jets and Giants than Mets and Yankees?
Yes.
No
big-
way. There is no way that's true. That is crazy.
I would say New York is way more a Giants than the Jets for sure.
I think there's a much bigger gap with Yankees Mets than there is.
No
way. There's no way.
When Cohen took
I-
over the Mets, I think that number changed in a big way. I really
and
do.
I can tell you as much right now. at least up north in Los Angeles, nobody wanted either of the NFL teams to win their bet. They wanted the Raiders from the word go, and they didn't get them. They got the leftovers from St. Louis in my hometown of San Diego. But I think the Rams are vastly better because
the Rams are way more popular in LA than
I don't think here's the thing, Liam, though. Here's the thing. Enthusiasm doesn't always mean the team is more popular, because enthusiasm has there's a lot of nuance to it, because I'll give you an example. Ranger fans are more enthusiastic than Yankee fans.
I don't know about that.
The Met fans are more enthusiastic. Met fans the Mets are the more rabid fan base than the Yankees.
Exactly, but the Yankees are more popular. It's the same concept. Like, maybe you could argue Nick fans are more. I think Nick fans
but what's the split of Knicks Nets has to be like 90-10 at least.
Yeah, but baseball is more popular than basketball. That's the reason why. Baseball is bigger.
I don't know about that, and I also don't know if you're talking about right now.
It is. I think it is.
Right, if you talk about when they're on a run?
I would say, right now, the Knicks are going to the finals, so obviously the Knicks
you think people in the city care about the Mets and the Yankees right now? Not really.
Well, right now, because the Knicks are about to go play in the finals, you have to go by when all else is equal. Like, all right, like during a normal time. I mean, it's not fair to say that now because the Knicks are going on a final run. I would say the Yankees are the most popular team, and then the Knicks are the second most popular team.
And by the way, I'm just going to fill in real quick with, I'm sure it's Rangers vastly better than the Islanders when it comes to fan base.
Oh, that's not close.
There's three in the area.
There's Rangers, Devils, and Islanders, and
I'd probably say Rangers, Devils, Isles, but I might be wrong about that.
Islanders are more popular.
There's more Islander fans and Devil fans.
And then Liam, because you have their logo above your head, I'm going to assume it'd be the Red Bull New York over NYC, though they've won a cup more recently than the.
Probably, yeah, probably, but that I don't know about that, but yeah, probably, I would assume so.
I would say there's a bigger. If you look at the gap between Big Brother and Little Brother in terms of how many fans for each team, like just in terms of raw numbers, Jets and Giants, I think it's probably the smallest.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jets Giants.
Y'all would know better than me, so
I think Giants is close to even.
No way.
Giants and Jets, close to even. It's not close to even. You're so wrong.
Mets Yankees. Huge difference.
No, you switch those around. Mets is close to even.
I'm a Jet fan.
That's not even close.
Wait a minute.
As a Jet fan, and he's saying it.
Wait a minute. As a Jet fan, I can tell you this is more of a Giant area than the Jets.
No, it's more Giants. I'm saying I think the gap. I think you guys are underestimating how big the gap is between Mets and Yankees. I think Mets Yankees is 7. I think it's like maybe a 2-to-1 ratio if you're lucky. Yankees Mets.
There's way more Yankee fans, but that also has to do with. I mean, the Yankees were just way more successful. The Giants are way more successful than the Jets, but I think that there are way more Yankee fans. But the Mets have a big fan base. Like the Mets are more rabid of a fan base than the Jets. I mean, the Jets never win, so it's kind of tough to say.
Frankly, it's the same people.
No, they don't. But yeah, it's the same people. But that's the point. So Mets fans are Jets fans, Yankee fans are Giant fans, but they're all Knicks fans pretty much.
I guess wait a minute. I guess I'm the difference on that.
You're the outlier, Morgeson. I was going to say you're the outlier.
I am the outlier because I'm a Yankee and a Jet fan. But
and a net
fan. Typically they're it's not everybody's a fan of all three of them.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, at least from spending a lot of time in LA, I can tell you that it's vastly Dodgers, vastly Lakers, vastly Rams as those three. The only sport you probably have a good cut, and the only sport you really have a good cut, almost 50-50, if not leaning a bit, is in Major League Soccer with both the Galaxy and LAFC. But that's neither here nor there.
I want to add one more perception to the argument, which is, if you want to talk about brand, then you could say the Yankees by far are the much bigger brand.
1000%.
But from a fan base perspective, I actually think it's much closer than you think from that standpoint. Because, Nick, if you want to say like the Yankee logo is everywhere, the Yankee brand is everywhere, if you ask a tourist who's coming into New York for first time, which team are they going to know better? It's going to be the Yankees. They're going to know. But it's close. When Steve Cohen bought this team, everyone bought back in to the Mets.
I don't think it has anything to do with. Look, there's always the Mets. have always had a big fan base. That's just because local baseball is just really, really big. If you look at all of the locally speaking, if you look at all of the sports, baseball is probably the biggest local sport, I would say.
I would say so.
Yeah, I would say so.
Especially, with where I live, and that the Padres are your main Big Four team. There's no NBA, no NFL, no NHL is in the market. You have Major League Soccer. You've got the NWSL and a bunch of other teams and other, leagues like the American Hockey League, for example, or indoor soccer. And I can kind of speak to that, though, a bit, that when the Padres and Chargers were still occupying Qualcomm Stadium or the marketplace, it was vastly Chargers after the month of May because the Padres were already 30 games out of first place and everybody turned their attention to football. Now you really don't. And now you have that safety net, though, with soccer, with SDFC and MLS and whatnot. But even when the Padres have gotten good over the last, decade plus roughly, if not just even that first, like I said earlier, that first 2015 season of just trying to be relevant, people bought back into the organization. Now all of a sudden here they're turning out 72 sellouts a year now. In every game almost at home, Monday through Sunday or all week is sold out. Now, is that because they put the giveaway nights on a work night? Sure it is. They have $5 beer on Friday. Sure it is. But that when the team is good, and obviously, this is a marketplace that is known for fair weather fans that they only come when the team's winning, as I have been for 32 years. But even now, though, it's just crazy to think, though, that, I see more Padre gear finally in this marketplace more than Dodger crap going down the street to the liquor store.
Now, the one thing, because you brought up like the Nets and the Knicks, even though I think that number's a little high, you were saying 90 to 10. I do agree the number is obviously in favor of the Knicks by a long margin. But at the same time, what I would say, a lot of that 10% are fans that were left over from being a fan in New Jersey, like myself.
They should not have left New Jersey. That was a gigantic mistake. And they're not a New York team. That's why they don't have a big fan base. They're a New Jersey team, which they should have stayed there.
Well, they were originally in New York. I want to ask,
though, for DiMartino, I guess, both Knicks, but if the Knicks win the title, does Brunson become the biggest athlete? Right now, it's Judge in New York.
I still think it's
a lot. But does Brunson go ahead of him if the Knicks win?
Well, in what? I think a lot of that depends on how they win.
No.
But it does. What if in a game 7, Jalen Brunson hits a buzzer beater to win game 7? That is a really big deal.
What if they both win this year?
Not only is that, DeMar, over Wemby. Because everybody's talking about Wemby. It just makes the conversation.
If the Knicks win a title this year, Jalen Brunson passes over Aaron Judge.
But what if they both win, though? What if they both win one?
I think Aaron Judge is bigger.
I think
there's enough room at the table for them both.
A lot of it depends on context, though. But I would say, in all likelihood, if the Knicks win, Jalen Brunson is the bigger star than Aaron Judge. I think so.
Well, no way.
Who do you think?
I would say that only until the baseball season ends, and if the Yankees somehow win,
that's fair.
They both have a seat at the table, if you ask me.
That's fair. Although here's the thing, though.
Judge is always going to have a seat at the table. He's just
I concur.
Aaron Judge has not gotten it done in the playoffs for most of his time with the Yankees, and they haven't won a World Series. But
what does that have to do with bigger star?
Well, he's saying. I think Nick is saying that he's a big star. Are you saying that he's a big star despite that?
Yeah.
He's a big star despite that. My point. The point I'm making is he hasn't won a World Series, and he hasn't. And his numbers are significantly worse in the playoffs. So Yankee fans, are overwhelmingly frustrated with Judge for his postseason performances. That's just a fact. And if Jalen Brunson brings a championship to the Knicks in over 50 years, it's hard for me to believe that he wouldn't be a bigger star.
I would say this, by the way, I would say the same thing to DiMart's point about Manny Machado, who signed the first very big lucrative Padre contract for $300 million, and he got the extension afterwards. And now how he has become almost the face of San Diego sports from his time with the Padres to being an investor of the MLS club here, and that he's always at games when he has time to be out there. That's a similar way, though, that he's a great regular season player, but the guy can never deliver in the come playoff time. I think his lifetime batting average in the playoffs, dating back to Baltimore, the Dodgers, and now in San Diego, is a dismal 211. Like, that's not going to cut it and get it done here, and people will hold you accountable for how you do, in fact, play the game.
Well, and real quick, not even postseason. Also, if you look at highlights of Judge's home runs, look at the scoreboard too. Nobody loves garbage time more than Aaron Judge. Holy shit!
That's true. I can't debate that. Really,
you know who did? L.A. Angel Shohei Ohtani. Oh, there's a grand slam, and the Angels still are losing.
He was the king of a garbage home run in L.A.
In Anaheim. Yes, he was.
Well, Ohtani was trying to hit the over though on those.
Does Anaheim count? I have to ask Callan this question. Do the Angels count as an L.A. team?
They do not.
No,
they do not. Really?
No,
Anaheim's like almost an hour from LA.
Yeah, do not let the do not let the Los Angeles name fool you. Orange County and LA County and San Diego, we're all three different places.
Interesting, because it seems like everybody, it seems like people outside of LA think it's the same thing.
Yeah, and it's not.
Wait,
yeah,
is it equivalent? Is it equivalent to the Jets and Giants playing in New Jersey, or is it
no? It would be like if the Mets played in like Tom's River.
Yeah.
That wouldn't count. As New York.
Yeah. So that's why, and for those that are wondering, there is another bill going through the state assembly here in California to put the name back to Anaheim or California.
They should.
To drop the Los Angeles moniker from the franchise because
they don't play in LA.
Yeah, they don't play in LA.
They did it for branding. That's why they did it.
The city of Anaheim sued them 21 years ago over the name change because it was in violation of the lease for the ballpark.
Really?
And they lost.
It's in terms of like Callan's sake with Anaheim, I mean, Patriots are Foxborough. They're not.
Yeah, but they go by New England though, so they're not.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I mean, the only time that my city won a championship, we beat the Boston Patriots in 1963 in the American Football League at Balboa Stadium, 51-10.
By the way, I do laugh about this every time when we talk about the Jets and the Giants. Buffalo is technically the only team in New York.
No, but you know that Buffalo Stadium is farther from Buffalo than the MetLife Stadium is from New York City.
Isn't it by a graveyard too, or something like that?
But I'm not disagreeing with the Jets and the Giants thing in Jersey.
I can't stand when people say that, Buffalo teams are New York teams. When we're talking about New York teams, we're talking about New York City teams, New York metropolitan area.
And
nobody cares about New York State.
By the way, time out real quick. I'm glad DiMart said that because if anyone watches the 30 for 30 about the Buffalo Bills in the 4 straight Super Bowls, Thurman Thomas thought he was going to be playing in the city, and then they flew him to Buffalo. He's like, wait, where's MSG? Where's Yankee Stadium?
Marshawn Lynch thought that too.
He was so confused.
I can see that with Marshawn Lynch, but geez, it's kind of like how when people talk about America, people mean America means the United States, generally speaking. Yeah, it doesn't mean all of North America, Central America, and South America. America means the United States. That's what people mean. It's the same thing with New York teams. We mean New York City metropolitan area.
All right, let me get this out of the way first, since we're talking about the world. The world has arrived for the 39-day global spectacle that is the FIFA World Cup, and ETB has you covered with the best coverage of the beautiful game as Callan McClurg and Trevor Williams bring you Empty the Pitch with in-depth coverage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Kickoff is coming on June 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, followed by Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, and following every United States men's national team match for a post-match reaction show. Only on the Empty the Bench Network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network.
So we have 3 of those already planned for you folks. So just to kind of quickly, before we wrap up here, because I have to be out of here at the top of the hour. But what we have drafted right now is myself and Trevor will have a full tournament breakdown for you on June 10th in the evening, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Then we will follow that up after the 10th and bring you a post-match show after Team USA plays their first match from Inglewood, California versus Paraguay. That game will kick off at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So we'll be on probably, I'd say, half an hour after the game concludes. And then Saturday mornings, as Morganson alluded to, we'll have full-fledged updates about every group, where things stand. It will carry you all the way until July 19th when they crown the champs in everyone but Ben and Callan's backyard at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey on July 19th for the World Cup final.
Yippee.
Oh, really quickly, guys. And we don't really talk tennis here, but you guys kind of been seeing what's happening on the French Open?
Nick Morgan's had a field day with all these upsets.
Yeah. Fonseca, by the way, Fonseca, some of his forehands are just unreturnable.
Yeah,
so good.
Like
I think
they
he's
were
hoping to score.
his forehand is so good. They were clocking his forehand. I've never seen a forehand get clocked before.
Yeah. He is so good.
The French Open has been insane. They said there was like 28 5-setters
Yeah.
that took place in this French Open. It was nuts.
Even in the women's, Coco lost yesterday too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you look at Djokovic, it's like you can almost look at Djokovic similar to the way you look at the Bills last year. It's like no Alcatraz, no Sinner. So he had such a clear path to winning a French Open.
And he shits himself.
I mean, look,
he only lost once ever after winning the first 2 sets ever in his career.
Oh man! Did you see he attacked the cameraman too?
Who did?
Djokovic?
No, someone attacked. Someone pushed a ball girl.
That's what it was. I think.
No.
That
was one thing, but apparently Djokovic, like a cameraman, got too close to Djokovic, and he pushed the cameraman back.
Oh, jeez.
And yes, Christy, we will be having some benchmarks episodes revolving around soccer over the course of the summer for the World Cup, regarding tragedy, regarding David Beckham coming to the Galaxy in 2007, Landon Donovan's goal in 2010 that had me running around the block against Algeria, the 99 World Cup, the 99 World Cup final where Brandon Chastain won it for Team USA and ripped off her jersey at the Rose Bowl.
Yep.
So a lot of good things are coming down the pipeline for benchmarks during the course of the World Cup. With that, though, fellas, for a lockup shop for the night and for the week, the sports world has, in fact, shifted underneath our feet this evening as you watch the Spurs put on a masterclass in Game 7 to set up a dream finals rematch against the New York Knickerbockers. But the biggest execution happened in the front offices where the NBA officially buried the tanking area with a new 29-1 vote for the new 3-2-1 lottery format. Also unveiled the upcoming looming June 1st NFL roster cuts, the first hostile volleys of a Major League Baseball lockout, and the sobering reality of what Brendan Sorsby's gambling file does read of over 2,900 bets. Remind us that the integrity of college athletics is on a razor's edge at this rate. A huge thank you to both Nick DiMartino, Ben Cruz, Liam Barwick, and even Nick Morganson for joining the show here tonight. As Morganson said, though, mark those counters, though, for the Empty the Pitch premiere as you get for the World Cup coming up on June 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific. With that, though, fellas, until next Sunday, we will be signing off and saying that the lounge is officially closed for the next week. We'll see you back here, folks, on June 7th. Back here for 5 o'clock. That is correct. We will be back here, though.
In Connecticut.
We'll be back for 3 more hours of hell and utter madness inside the lounge here. Until then, folks, have a great night. Bye-bye.
See you guys.